Woodward, we are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener.
Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off this day with the Woo crew. I'm happy to be here with all of you guys, man. The chat family, you guys are the most important part of this thing. Let's run up them likes. It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network. Yes, he is still wearing a Riley Greene jersey. And how appropriate on a victory show, too.
Oh, how appropriate, yes. And I got a nice little segment dedicated to him individually.
Great day to be wearing that jersey.
Great day to be wearing that jersey, but as I've said many, many times, I absolutely hate the St. Louis Cardinals with a burning passion. Always have, always will.
Stole it from him.
And the funny thing, too, is that, and we'll get into it a little bit more, those MFers always make it hard. They're always good.
Pause.
They always have a bunch of guys who put together these like nice at bat. Like they're just they're a team that is always, they're talented, but they have a lot of who I like to call fuckers as well. You know what I'm talking about.
Pittsburgh Steelers of baseball, in my opinion.
Just hard to play against.
I know exactly what you mean, and I will always hate them, man. Like them, who else? Big Panda, get out of here.
Oh,
and that
Kung
Boston
Fu
Red
Panda,
Sox,
yeah.
Kung Fu Panda, in Boston Red Sox. It's not necessarily the whole team. It's like not even David Ortiz. It's really that wall and the security guard. That to me, that image lives so rent free in my mind.
Do your job.
He was like,
You're not supposed to be a fan. Although, if it happened at Comerica and a,
you know what we would do.
I know. But we don't have to be consistent. Come on. But,
I feel like you would be like,
I know. All right. Maybe I'll give the.
What was that? Was that Sean Kemp? Dunked on somebody and hit him with it?
That's wild that he did that.
Jeez, man. But these Tigers,
Yeah.
they defeat the Cardinals 5-4, so it's a little bit of extra juice on this one, and they give themselves an opportunity to do something they've done a lot of this year, and that's win another series, man. But what stood out to you? What excited you the most about this game, Flem?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Riley Greene was the star, but when we start out, baseball is the ultimate team game, so I wanted to give some other guys a shout out. Shout out Kerry Carpenter for the leading off the game with the home run. When you got a leadoff hitter like Kerry Carpenter with the power, showing off the his Kerry Bonds alter ego. Love to see that. Love to get out to a quick 1-0 lead to immediately help to erase the taste of the previous night before. Got to give credit to Zach McKinstry and Gleyber Torres as well, doing a good job of setting the table. McKinstry in particular, 2 hits, 2 runs scored, was the beneficiary of a couple of big Riley Greene hits. One of those who would get on base. Love to see that, and you just love to see them get a win. And I also like it that in the ebbs and flows of a baseball season, sometimes you're just going to have to win in different ways. I'll tell you what, when it was 4-0 heading into the bottom of the 5th, Skubal on the mound, I was kicking back a little bit. But unfortunately, the Tigers, they did blow it. Tarek Skubal ran into a little bit of trouble, gave up 3 runs. Tyler Holton, who's struggled a bit this year, gave up the game-tying run. But you know what? Will Vest pitched a clean 8th to get the win. Tommy Kahnle pitched a clean 9th to get his 6th save. So as much as we're going to talk about Riley Greene later, this was a team effort. There was a resiliency shown to this team, because I'll tell you what, when the Cardinals came back and tied it, I wasn't feeling very good. They're just a gritty, grimy team.
Things got a little tight. And I know we have a whole segment where we're going to definitely talk about one Mr. Riley Greene, your godson. You look like such a proud godparent this morning, Flannel Sam. But once again, this is the reason why we tell people limit the reactions, limit the overreactions. Listen, I'm going to continue to tell you that. I know that you're never going to go to that dark place ever again, but Riley Greene is one of those guys who, yes, if he goes through a slump, he's going through a slump, but I'm glad this team has learned to play through it and pick him up, because last year, especially the first half of the season, it wasn't there, and it was stark. When that pitching started to disappear, you saw the Tigers struggle. When they got some more bats around Riley Greene and some of that pitching back, they were good. But this season, these are the games that I think people forget. It's when you look at that box score, when you look at that game, you see that Riley Greene is the reason why this Detroit Tigers team had the opportunity and did win that game. And that's what he does throughout the course of these seasons. When you talk about players like him and even Scooble, they are difference makers, like one-to-one difference makers, in my opinion, as it relates to they can control or dictate the entire complexity of a game. We know what Scooble is when he's dealing. We saw what the game was when he was dealing last night. We know what Riley Greene is when he's on. Though just two players can go out there and literally will you to a win. And that's why it's so important for this team to pick those guys up, get them to their hot parts of the season, because even though you're saying Riley Greene's on fire, even though we have seen some dominance from Terry Scooble to start the season, I do not believe we've seen the best from either one of them this season.
No, definitely not. And if you just look at Tarek Scooble, and not even close, what I'm about to say is not even close to a shot. His numbers are a little down, and that's okay. And I mentioned Tyler Holton. His numbers are definitely a lot down versus what we've come to expect. But at the end of the day, we talk about with a starting pitching, they've got a great staff. Casey Mize, when he was healthy, and hopefully he comes back soon, was looking like an ace. Jackson Jobe, the Tigers are 8-0 when he starts. You got Flaherty, who's been a little up and down, but Reese Olson as well when he was healthy. This is a very, very complete team, and we all know it's not. There's a lot more consistency in this lineup than in years past. So this is a complete team. They got themselves a really nice, hard-fought team win yesterday against a Cardinals team that, like always, just will not go away and never will. Love to see it. Would love to see the Tigers, get the series win tonight. I'm not pounding the table for it because the Guardians series is still more important, but it would be a nice feather in the cap for old Flannel Sam if the Tigers can get a 2-1 series victory over my hated St. Louis Cardinals.
Especially seeing just how good a year they are having right now. Yeah. You have an opportunity to take a little bit of shine off that start by having this type of a matchup and going out there and winning this series. And the Tigers, think about the confidence you build as you continue to go series after series after series. And more times than not, you're coming away with that win. I know that dude Justin did the graphic yesterday. What was that percentage? Do you know what the percentage of it was? What, like 83% winning percentage in series? Yes. That's insane. That is insane. And it is because of what you called them, a complete team from top to bottom with the flexibility to get better through adding people who are getting better injury-wise, people who, that I believe with Reese Olson and with Casey Mize, they have the opportunity and the freedom and the flexibility to just let those guys get healthy, really, really healthy, rather than risk more injury or more harm. That could be more detrimental to their long-term success. And they put themselves in a position where at the trade deadline, if they believe they want to tweak or augment in some type of way, they can go out there and do that. They have everything at their disposal, including if you can find a way to convince Mr. Chris Ilitch that this is a World Series, if I say Super Bowl, a World Series winning move, we've seen now he's been willing to open up the pocketbook just a little bit. And that's where I'm ecstatic to see what this team is doing. I don't know if that hurts or helps their chances at him spending the money, because he can say, well, y'all already the best team. Why I got to spend? But when you're talking about going out there and giving his team something that we know his father passionately wanted for this city, I'm hoping that what we're seeing right now encourages, Ilitch, Harris, and all those guys to take the necessary steps to push this team over the top, because this is exciting. People who have waited and wondered, pondered, even the most ardent fans, is it going to fall off? Except for Randall Smalls. But everybody else is like, is this something we can believe in? Not are they a good team. They're the best team in baseball, Flamin.
Hey, record-wise, yes, and I think in terms of at least the American League, I think they have a very good claim to it. Obviously, the Yankees are formidable, but they're flawed. Every team's flawed in a Major League Baseball, and nobody can deny that. Even if you're a Mets fan or a Dodgers fan, I don't think anybody's completely confident in their team. But another factoid about yesterday's game, which speaks to when you're a good team, you find ways to win games. You win games in a variety of different ways. The Tigers' 5 through 9 hitters yesterday were a combined 0 of 18. And they still won. But that's the thing. I'm not killing them for it. I mean, Spencer Torkelson, how great of a year has he had? He can go 0 for 4.
Yep.
Have his teammates pick him up. Same with Javi Baez.
Yeah.
Again, he's slumping a little bit. His numbers are starting to take a bit of a dip, I'm sure, much to the enjoyment of Mr. Neil Rule. But he has done enough to where if he's going to go through a slump, which we all knew he would at some point, it's on the rest of the team to pick him up. And the 1 through 4 hitters, particularly one Mr. Riley Greene, they stepped up. Usually when you have a bottom of the lineup, or not even bottom of the lineup, mid to bottom of the lineup that doesn't hit at all, it's hard to win games like that. It's hard to win games when you blow a 4-0 lead. Tigers did it. And now they have a chance to go to St. Louis and stay in St. Louis, win Game 3, win the series, and go into the series against Cleveland, probably with at least a 5.5, 6 game lead.
But this team is
in the AL Central.
It's continuing to show a lot of character and a lot of moxie that they can win in a variety of ways from a plethora of players, and that they can do this thing. They can pick each other up. They are passing that test. That was something that all of us, I know that dude Justin, it was something that he even talked about as well. Who are they on the bounce back? Who are they through the adversity? And, Justin, how you feeling about this, man? They got a great chance to go out there and put another one up so you can make another graphic, 12-4 in their series this season.
Yeah, I mean, last night, I think it just proves to you how much better the Tigers are in every facet of the game comparative to teams like the Cardinals. Every time the Tigers needed a big pitch to get out of a situation, they got it. Every time that they needed a big hit, they got it. And that's just the identity of this team throughout the crunch time and in high-pressure situations in the game. I mean, bases loaded, we get out of it. It's just this team continues to play well. And like you said, pick up each other. Javi Baez won for his last 19, and he is definitely slumping, but being able to have guys in your lineup, even when you have Akil Baddoo in your lineup, which is offensively a black hole, let's just call it how it is, and you have right now 2 basically automatic outs in your lineup at the moment, and you're still finding ways to win games, and that's just how impressive this run for the Tigers has been, and how much better they are in every facet of the game, where you can make up for 2 guys in their lineup who are been auto outs in the last 3 games.
Yep, and speaking of Akil Baddoo, the good news about him is that, yes, you can say he helped the Tigers win a game with his 2 first-inning great catches against Toronto, but he is a black hole in the lineup, but he's not going to have to be in the lineup for much longer because some guys are coming back.
Yes, sir.
All due respect to Baddoo, but there are spots opening up for, especially if Javi continues to slump. Maybe guys like Parker Meadows are going to be needed more than we thought maybe even a couple of days ago.
Javi's coming back, man.
Right.
No. This isn't anti-Javi. Like I said, if you would have told me before the year that he'd be putting up the numbers that he is right now, I would have done a backflip. And I'm not
2 backflips.
Oh yeah, I'm not killing him in any way, shape, or form. It's just that maybe he is better if he plays 4 or 5 days a week instead of 7. We'll see. They've kept his games played to not a minimum, but a little bit more sporadic. He's gotten a lot of days off.
If only Javi could be like a designated fielder instead of a designated hitter, because his glove is just a magnet out there in center field lately.
It is. I mean, there's no denying it. He's been a phenomenal defensive center fielder this year.
And I have to believe that the Tigers understood that there was going to be some ability for them to be able to have this success. This team and whatever they have, their scouts, their coaches, their ability to put together their strategies and understanding who to have here. Now for a couple years, it's worked out for them. Their consistent belief in Javi, sticking through the medical process and all of that. Shout out to New Hip Javi. Their ability to call their shot, it's starting. Like I said, it's starting to look really, really, really Lions-like. And when you're looking at them now in the second year of effectively a playoff season, by the end of the season, there is no doubt you have to say trust in Harris. There's no doubt you have to say trust in Hinch. I already trust in Hinch. I already trust in Harris. But it gets to the point where I believe you can champion those guys at least to the level that we do some parts with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Obviously, there's a little bit more to be seen, but already a pretty decent playoff run last season, primed to take another one this year. And I believe they're just getting started with the ability of these guys to go out there and move this thing forward that much more. Like, even at the trade deadline, you have people locally, you have people here, you have people, nationally. You have Ben Verlander all saying, what the hell are the Tigers doing? You were right there. It was right in your hand. And what? Even with the Bregman thing, people said you shouldn't have allowed. You should have caved. You should have let him Bregman push you off your mark. Tigers both times said no. I laughed at him. Chris said, we have enough to make the playoffs. We all were like, all right, bro. And then they made the playoffs. And now we see them right now, and it's like, goodness gracious. I trust in Harris, trust in him.
Yeah, I mean, when you follow up a playoff run with being the best team in baseball through almost a third of the season, you really can't say anything. And especially even if we're just talking about Scott Harris, I know a lot of the guys that are the stars of the team, like, Riley Greene, Torque, Skubal, Mize, Kerry Carpenter, they were Al Avila draft picks. But even if you just want to look at Scott Harris's direct imprint on this team, how big has Gleyber Torres been, and how big has Tommy Kahnle been? Gleyber Torres has an OPS of over 800, and Tommy Kahnle has an ERA of 1.37 with 6 saves. Where would the Tigers be without those guys? They might still be leading the division, but they wouldn't be the best team in baseball. So as Scott Harris, he's been more shrewd than I think he's sometimes given credit for. And shout out to him. I think he's...
Who's to get more credit for the current success of these teams, Matt Patricia or Al Avila?
Well, Al Avila. It's 100% Al Avila. And I'm not trying to be like, give these guys credit, guy, but it's most certainly Al Avila. No question about it.
I love that one. And JB Smooth, I know we got some super chats to clear up before we get to some Riley Greene love making. We should probably just go ahead on that next segment. We're going to satisfy that like button, and we're going to get into some Riley Greene love fest, huh?
Yes.
Let's rock.
Yes.
We got some super chats, JB?
We do. I'm still collecting them over here. So if we want to go to break and come back with them, yeah, I got you.
Let's do that. Shout out to the chat family, man. Thank you guys for all the support. But you know what? It's sounding like buddies for lunch. You guys can do that, in my opinion, every day of the week if you wanted to. But if you're going to do that today, you can get to any one of their 22 locations in the great state of pure Michigan. And fans, you can visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddies Rewards to earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. Download the Buddies Pizza mobile app and start earning today. Add some Detroit style to your next meal. And make sure to use that promo code 10MIL to save 10% off your entire order. That is the number 10 MEAL. BuddiesPizza.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Detroit has the Best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness. Fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage chairs, and total body enhancement and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. Not. I love the way the menu lays out today. Obviously, we got Riley Greene right now. And then the top 10 best athletes in Detroit. Social media team put that out, and it got a lot of engagement. And then Rod Beard, the legend, will join, probably give his thoughts on that. In addition to, we got a very specially themed free agency edition of Swish or Brick today for our Woodward Pistons segment. So you guys are going to help us figure out what is free agency edition version 1. And each week, we're going to come up with some different players that are going to be involved with your draft prospects, your free agent prospects, who to re-sign, and all of that jazz. So, but let's satisfy that like button, and then we're gonna bring the chat family into this with the super chats, and then we're gonna just let Flannel set the entire mood.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, yeah. So let's smash that like button. I don't know who's gonna. Is that dude Justin over there, Cavassier Chase?
I think we should let Willie. I think we should let the trio
don't
on the
let Willie
couch.
do
Oh, the
it.
trio.
Yeah.
Let's go. Willie.
Yeah.
We gotta satisfy
We have a
that
little
like button,
threesome
man.
going on the couch.
The Quiet Storm voice. Let's go. Cavassier.
Come on down and lube up and get ready to like this button down. So in that case, sit back and relax. If you
button.
if you like something down, lube it up and get it going.
Satisfy it, boy. Man, he said, you know what? Make it enjoyable, right? You know what? ChatGPT, good call. He said let Willie B do that. Hey, but let's get to those super chats, and then we got to talk about Riley Greene, who, when you look at that box score, when you look at that game, you understand who won that game for the Tigers last night. And that's the type of effect he has. And that's why I'm saying, look, team, pick him up more times than not. Don't get down on the the fickleness of baseball, because he's going to be a guy that when you're supposed to take an L sometimes, he can make sure that it's a W.
Oh, yeah. No, last night, that was the Riley Greene game. But before we get to that, JB, do you want to read off some of the super chats?
Yeah. Shout out to everyone sending in super chats. Appreciate it. $5 from Burn. He said, not to throw cold water, but this scuba run has confirmed that there is no chance we re-sign him. Another team will drop the economy of a small country for this man.
Another story for another day.
Yeah. Shout out Mr. Joe the Gringo. $4.99. He said, can we give a shout out to the Muskegon Lumberjacks? You're a new Clark Cup champions. Jack Chris with the walk-off in the fourth period. So shout out to the Muskegon Lumberjacks, man.
Hey, I love Muskegon, man. I went up there with DJ Choff. We got some of his music in the system. He's also was part of the Woodward Sports family once a long time ago.
Hey.
But he was doing the We Discover Fest up in Muskegon and invited me up there. We got us all types of access, and it was an epic time. I actually hope they bring that festival back, but Muskegon was dope. We stayed right off the water, man. It was an epic time up there. Michigan is beautiful.
Oh, shout out to the Lumberjacks. $2 from Nobody. He said, Big Willie over there looking like the executioner. My God.
Yeah, the way he threw off the hoodie. He's like, oh, hold on, let me switch up the vibe.
Yeah.
I was getting like Palpatine like vibes.
Palpatine.
Yeah, like, you see like the Kermit meme where he's like, do it.
Do it. Do the next satisfy that like button like that, like Jeez.
And we got $10 from one Mr. Charles McLean. He said, Hinch seems to not want to win. Scooble had his best run with Dingler as catcher, and Dingler goes to the bench hitting 275 for an automatic out, catching hitting 175.
Hey, be careful, Charles McLean.
Is that flannel burner?
The Reiki bros are going to come after you.
Oh, boy.
And I'm not trying to be I'm not willing to go as far as a Charles McLean because, I don't want somebody to lose their job due to injury. And Jake Rogers had been Scooble's personal catcher for all of last year. But Dingler's doing a great job catching Scooble, and Dingler is hitting. And you know who else was hitting? Tomas Nido. And I'm not saying that they should have DFA'd Jake Rogers instead of Tomas Nido, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Jake Rogers became a bit of a folk hero because he had a couple of big playoff hits, which I appreciate, by the way, but he is what he is. He's a rotational catcher who's going to probably be more known for his defense, which there is a spot for that on an MLB baseball team. But Dylan Dingler, I want getting the majority of these starts, at least for now, because he's hitting and he's playing defense.
And as much as I've enjoyed being able to hold up the banner and the flag for Jake Rogers on this show and definitely make sure that Flannel knows the greatness of one Jake Rogers, y'all already know how I feel about Dylan Dingler, man.
Yeah.
And the fact that he actually took that step forward this year, give him the, why not?
Yep. No, he could fight for an all-star spot. When we talk about, and we'll have that conversation on another day.
You said you're on a good day, but here's Herb Nash. Dingler is a Buckeye, LOL.
Well, it doesn't matter when you get to the league. It doesn't matter. Like we try to separate that, as I'm sure a lot of Michigan State fans do when it comes to rooting for one Mr. Aiden Hutchinson. Gotta separate it.
Chris Feder probably just gives him those blank stares, like.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, he reminds him like we beat you 4 years in a row, bro.
Hey, absolutely. But you can't tell the story of the game last night without talking about one Mr. Riley Greene. To me, that was one of the best games he's ever played, because you needed everything that Riley Greene provided for you last night if you're the Detroit Tigers. Obviously, Kerry Bonds got it started with a leadoff home run. You love to see that. But then Greene got an RBI single to extend the lead to 2-0. His next time at bat, he hits a 2-run homer to extend the lead to 4-0. But then, as we all know, 4-0 lead with Skubal, bottom of the fifth. You think it's safe. It wasn't safe. Cardinals climb all the way back, tie the game at 4. I'm feeling down. I'm worried that the Tigers are going to blow this one. Who comes through and saves the day? One Mr. Riley Greene with an RBI double into the right center field gap. Scores Zach McKinstry. And then, of course, Tommy Kahnle shuts it down in the bottom of the ninth. But Riley Greene, that's the type of stuff that superstars do. And I'm not quite ready to call him a superstar just yet. But I'll tell you this. Riley Greene has built upon an all-star season last year in which you needed everything that he gave you if you're the Tigers. And this season, his numbers pretty much across the board, except for on-base percentage, are better. OPS better. Slugging better. We talked about how, oh man, are the Tigers going to have anyone with 30 home runs? I thought that was always a little overblown, but still, if you want to say that was a concern, fine. Riley Greene's on pace for damn near 40, as is Spencer Torkelson, as is Kerry Carpenter. So, love to see what Riley Greene gave the Tigers last night. It was a big-time performance in a big-time game. I understand that this series at St. Louis isn't as important as, say, the one against Cleveland. But if the Tigers would have blown that game last night, if they would have lost, you're looking at potentially going into a day game with the Cardinals having a chance to sweep you. You don't want those kind of vibes. So a shout out Riley Greene. If there's very few baseball games where you can say it was damn near a one-man show. And as much as I give credit to other guys on this team, Riley Greene really carried them last night.
He definitely did. And that's the thing when you're talking about Riley Greene, you're talking about your all-star. It's a player who comes up and this is why I believe that some fans go through the emotions they do, is because we do remember some of these moments when he is the guy that comes through for the Tigers, and when it doesn't happen, it's almost as if we expect it to happen every time. That's just not baseball. The best hitters in the game are hovering at that 300 mark plus or minus, maybe even your 270s, 280s. And so when you kind of put it in the grand scheme of things, this is where it's very healthy, especially with Riley Greene, to just take that step back and see who he is over chunks of time, and you realize your team is a whole lot better with Riley Greene than without. And that's what it's consistently been now for a few seasons. I don't mind if he and Skubal so dare to regress just a little bit. They carried everything last year. Everything. And you needed everything that they gave you. It's okay if they come down to, still all-star form. It's okay if they go down to that. And that's where, with the Riley Greene, it's because I believe this with less stress. I do believe with the ability to focus on just getting hot, especially when the summertime is here, I believe it puts Riley Greene in a better position to be exactly what we saw him be last night. You get to go into these games knowing that the previous ones leading up, there's not a whole lot of pressure on you to have to be the hero or the savior or the absolute man every single bat after bat after bat. No, every time he goes at the bat right now, he knows what slumps he's gone through. He knows how he's broken out of that, and he knows through it all his team has been number one. And this is where I'm like, the most important aspect of what you want with Riley Greene, and I continue to piggyback with Terry Skubal, is let these guys just get hot. When they get to the best points of their season, which if I could bet the house on it, I would. You know, I believe that Riley Greene and Terry Skubal are going to reach another level this season. It's just about letting these guys get comfortable, get hot, play with this new aspect of the team. They're not playing with that top line, you must do everything pressure for the Tigers to have success.
Oh, more on that in just a second. And ZZZ Lions, Zach scored from first base. Give him some credit. Zach McKinstry was an elite table setter last night, and that's some really good base running, scoring from first on a gapper. You expect that, but at the end of the day, I mean, someone's still got to do it. Zach McKinstry, to me, you know how I talk about how the Cardinals, it seems like they always have these guys who I refer to as fuckers. Like David Eckstein or David Freese, or even right now, like Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar. This season, Zach McKinstry is our fucker. How many times do you think other teams have been like, this fucker, Zach McKinstry, does it again? And he was great last night, 2 hits, 2 runs. But more on but that's a good landmark of a baseball team. But more on Riley Greene, because I want to highlight some of his numbers on the year. Because one thing I also want to say to Riley Greene is I'm very proud of him for overcoming what was the worst slump that I've ever seen him in, and pretty much play at an MVP level since. But JB, do you have the Riley Greene AL ranks this season?
Yep.
That's the one that I want to start out with first. And this is over the whole year. OPS, he's 11th. Slugging, he's 6th. Total bases, he's 3rd. Home runs, he's tied for 4th. And RBIs, he's 5th. And Steve O'Baby in the chat earlier asked if he thinks that if I think that Riley Greene is going to put up MVP numbers this season. I don't know if I'd quite say that he's going to be in the running for MVP. That's Aaron Judge's award to lose unless he falls off of a cliff. But I wouldn't put it past him to receive some votes. If he keeps playing at this level, if he puts up these kind of rankings in the American League, he absolutely could get some votes. And there have been various times throughout the year, and even before the year, where I thought Riley Greene would get at least some MVP votes. So shout out to him for that. And also, JB, after that, I want to give you the season numbers, last 24 games in the month of May. Do you have that one?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. This is another thing I want to highlight about Riley Greene, and these are his slash lines, average on-base percentage OPS. This season, 286, 337, 872. Those are objectively great numbers. Those are all-star numbers. The only thing that I don't like is the on-base is a little bit lower than I would like, but that's just nitpicking. I would take this season from Riley Greene any day of the week. His average and his OPS is better than it was last year, albeit in a smaller sample size. Last 24 games. Look at those numbers the last 24 games. Do you know why I picked 24 games? It may seem a little random. It may seem a little arbitrary. That's because that was the stretch right after the game against San Diego where they lost 2-0. He went 0 for 4 again. I came in the next day and was pretty much in hell and said those awful things about him. Ever since then, though, in order to get his numbers from the doldrums to what they are currently on the season, in the last 24 games, 355, 406, 1.116. You want to talk about an MVP stretch? That's an MVP stretch. And we know how well the Tigers are playing. And in the month of May, 333, 397, 1.079. Again, thus far in the month of May, an MVP type month. And the Tigers are on their hottest streak that they've been in the whole season.
Hey, and you know what? Let's see the chat family. Vincent E says Riley Greene is that dude. Phil, all green, all the time.
Yes.
Hey, I love it.
And one more little side note, which I didn't mention, but I'm going to mention now. All of those numbers for Riley Greene in terms of ranks in the American League, OPS, home runs, RBIs, total bases, slugging, they are all better than Bobby Witt Jr., at least this year. And don't get me wrong, I still think Bobby Witt Jr. is a better player, and I think things will even out as the season goes along. However, there was a little bit too much chatter in the offseason, even despite everything that Riley Greene had done last year. To me, people even at this network and in this chat be like, we don't have anybody in the same stratosphere as Bobby Witt Jr. And I always thought that was a little bit disrespectful. As I said, Bobby Witt Jr. is a better baseball player than Riley Greene, but the gap is not as far as it seems. And so far this year, at least when it comes to some numbers, Riley Greene's actually having a better season so far. And it's about a third of the way through.
Hey, you got more support in the chat right now, too. Vincent E is back. And maybe you'll, something tells me you'll agree with this. Back-to-back All-Star appearances for Greene, a lock.
If the season ended today, he absolutely would. And just one more thing, because I want to try to get to the top 10 in Detroit before we get to Rod. One thing I wanted to mention as well. Something that was often mentioned in the offseason is that Riley Greene can't be the best player on a World Series winning team. And while I don't hate that opinion, I think it lacks a little bit of nuance. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up now is, JB, do you have the OPS list for the Detroit Tigers?
Oh, yeah.
So currently, Riley Greene is leading them in OPS this season at 872, which is one of the best in the American League. In fact, it's 11th in the American League. But Spencer Torkelson is 865. Kerry Carpenter's 822. Gleyber Torres is 800. And if you want to go a little bit more down, Zach McKinstry is 799. Javier Baez is 788. Dylan Dingler is 780. Those are 7 everyday players for the Detroit Tigers with OPSs over 780. 4 with an OPS over 800. The reason why I bring this up is I do think Riley Greene can be the best positional player on a World Series winning team if he gets the proper support around him. And thus far, he has. We know how great Torque's been. Kerry Carpenter, been healthy so far, knock on wood, done what he's always done. Gleyber Torres has been a fantastic signing. Zach McKinstry, Javier Baez, and Dylan Dingler are giving you far and away more than you could have ever expected. And oh, by the way, Matt Vierling and Parker Meadows haven't even played an inning yet. Riley Greene can be your best offensive player. You just need a little bit of insulation. But every superstar needs that to some degree. Like Riley Greene, he's not Juan Soto, he's not Aaron Judge, he's not Ohtani, he's not Freddie Freeman, but you can win big with him. As I remind you, and I've kept reminding you and I'll remind you again, last season on a team that made the playoffs for the first time in 9 years, Riley Greene led the team in every single major statistical category, and they even won a playoff series.
Shout out.
You can do, I think it lacks a little bit of nuance to just say, Riley Greene can't be the best player on a championship winning team. You might be right, but there are many ways in which these things can be constructed.
Yeah, and the way that we've seen even the Tigers lose series, even though they had the bats and they had the arms and such to squads that had players, in my opinion, similar in as you relate to like the lure in baseball to like maybe a Riley Greene. That's where I'm like, no, I do believe Riley Greene can be the best player on this Tigers World Series team. They support each other. They pick each other up. And Riley Greene is showing that when you need him to be that superstar, when you need him to come through, that's what he's proven. And when he does this in the playoffs, that to me is when I believe you will see a lot of the narratives start to change around who Riley Greene is. I think that some of it is, he makes the All-Star game for the first time. Upstart Tigers, he's just having a flash in the pan season of a guy who has been really, to some degrees, more so than it needs to be, polarizing figure in Detroit sports. And it seems to be a lot of our young stars are like that, and I know we're going to talk about that in the next one. But you got some support here, man. Chinavirus in the chat says, Riley is a superstar. Detroit Dabber 3-on-3 says, Riley has aura, Sam.
Tell Spencer Raxter that. It doesn't exist, but if it did, he would have it.
He would have it.
Like O.J. Simpson. If I did it, I'm kidding.
And I'm glad that you shouted out what was around Riley Greene right now, that he is getting some support. Yeah. And I'm wondering, because I don't think you were here for that show, but, what up, though, with Detroit Gunny. Glad to have you in the chat and part of the show family. He says there will always be a Baez game, a Greene game, a Carpenter game, a Torres game, a Torque game, etc. Just how the game of baseball goes, and it shows that this Tigers team, I believe that their success is here to stay because of how deep they are. They know that baseball is a fickle sport, and it seems like they're trying to out-fickle baseball. We saw Torque go through a little bit of stuff that made us uncomfortable. We saw Riley Greene go through some things that make us very uncomfortable. We saw how Scooble has started the season off, the first several games, but now we sit here realizing, though, they have still found the mojo and the way to be the best team record-wise in all of baseball, despite that. And that, to me, is one of the things and one of the keys to making yourself a World Series winning team. And then you get the opportunity to put your big bats and your big arms in a good position come playoff time because they haven't been under the gun the entire regular season of 162 games.
Yep, it's the ultimate team sport, and his fellow hitters are picking him up when he was down. He's picked others when they were down. The pitching, even despite some of the injuries and small struggles to certain players we expected to be a little bit better, people are picking each other up. They're a very complete team. And speaking of being a complete team, how many Detroit Tigers end up on the Woodward Sports list of top 10 current athletes in Detroit? Find out on the other side of the break. But tell us about merch, JB.
Oh, yes, merch. Head over to woodwardsports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab. We're dropping new designs for you every single week. Yes, we do have the Javi gear coming for you guys. Relax. But we got the Woodward Tigers gear that you should be rocking down at Comerica Park whenever you're down there. Shout out Kool-Aid. And you can't forget about the Red Wings, either the LFG Red Wings t-shirts, hoodies. They're still available for you right now. They're still our team. You still got to support them. Head over to woodwardsports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, May 23rd from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at McShane's in Detroit for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw, Easttown, and Van Johnson. And prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. We got everybody. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Guys, let's be honest, we like simple stuff like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. So walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. And we are back as Wake Up Woodward, and we appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the Woo crew. We got a full house in here too, man. You guys have already seen Cavassier Chase in the sound booth, Woodward Sports MVP, JB Smooth in the TD booth. Hey, Willie B, what up, though, brother?
What up, though, right here?
Hey, we got that dude Justin in the building, and we have an intern. Do you have a nickname, Ryan? We have intern Ryan in the building. We're gonna have to figure out a nickname for intern Ryan. We're gonna figure that out. And chat family, definitely throw some suggestions in the chat, and we'll find some time maybe towards the end of the show so you guys can meet Ryan. So but we got to talk about some of the best in Detroit sports, and it's a great time to talk about this because we're not talking about who's the face of Detroit sports while all the teams are sucking.
Yeah.
This is more or less who are these faces that are behind three of the teams that are now solid playoff teams, and one of them who we all believe will be very, very soon?
Oh, yes. And we've got the list, JB, if you want to present that. If you guys have perused our social media, you've probably already seen. And for those who are audio only, Woodward Sports top 10 Detroit athletes. 1, Tarek Skubal. 2, Penei Sewell. 3, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 4, Cade Cunningham. 5, Aiden Hutchinson. 6, Jameer Gibbs. 7, Riley Greene. 8, Kirby Joseph. 9, Jared Goff. And 10, Lucas Raymond. So to answer your question that I teased this with, 2 Tigers are on the list. I'm sure you're not surprised who they are. Tarek Skubal at 1, Riley Greene at 7. And before I pass it off to my guys, there's one thing that I actually do have a problem with. And I know some people aren't going to like it, and it goes against one of my brands. I don't think Lucas Raymond should be on this list. I don't think the Red Wings should have any representation, with all due respect, because I don't think they have a clear-cut star. I like Mo Sider, I like Dylan Larkin, I like Lucas Raymond, but they're the team that has been left behind at this point. They're the team that hasn't fulfilled the rebuild. They've made progress. They've had some linear growth, except for last year. They've got some talented players. They've got a lot coming through the system, particularly Grand Rapids. But at the end of the day, with the Detroit sports being as stacked as they are, I don't think a Red Wing belongs on this list. I would put Brian Branch on over Lucas Raymond, because Branch is not on this list. I would sneak Brian Branch right in there, put him in at 10, leave Lucas Raymond out, make them earn it a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely would do that too. When I looked at the list, I know that in the past it was always this kind of piecemeal, this kumbaya. We got to make sure we find a place for each one of our guys. Even with the Mount Rushmore, we generally are taking, who are your 4 in sports history, who are your current. We're generally taking one from each team. But if we're just going pound for pound, who's the best, and you're also considering where those teams are at as well, I actually do agree with you there. I was going to ask you about that one. I do understand the appeal of a Lucas Raymond. I see that dude Justin walking back in here because I want to get his opinion on this too. Because Lucas Raymond at 10, I thought there's a couple different Detroit Lions players that you could actually have on this list potentially above Lucas Raymond. But that dude Justin, what about you, man? Flannel Sam actually says he doesn't believe Lucas Raymond should be on this. He would put Brian Branch there. I agree with them, and I there's a couple others that I'm looking at that potentially could be over Lucas Raymond too.
I think that is all fair. I agree with you. I can't lie. Me and Travis were trying to put one player from every team on the list. So that 10 spot is with a caveat of that.
Your Red Wings at heart got you.
Yeah. I didn't even want to put a Red Wing in there. Travis convinced me to. I wanted to put there's plenty of players who deserve a spot in this list over Lucas Raymond or Dylan Larkin, if that's who you want to have in there. I personally, Brian Branch is a good one. Aleem McNeil. I think there's definitely more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But Branch and Aleem McNeil easily seem like they would, and Frank Ragnow. Would all be above him.
Yeah, so. Frank Ragnow or Branch
tank
at 10 over Lucas Raymond, 100% to me.
And that's where I think that the majority of the controversy with the list actually lies with the top and the bottom. I think that Penei Sewell actually has that claim to number 1. I see a lot of people in the chat.
I do see that too.
I see the people in the chat believe that, and I know what Tarek Skubal just did. But for the success we've had, that we've seen the Lions have, and to know that Penei has been the cornerstone, he is the number 1 player in football as it relates to the top 25 under 25. Arguably your best offensive lineman. I'll put some Kool-Aid on there. Your best offensive lineman in the league. And he's underpinning what is a Super Bowl window right now for these Detroit Lions on that offensive line in the trenches. So I kind of feel a little bit of some of the chat is saying that he might be snubbed. And then there's maybe some tweaks you could do in the middle, but I'm largely okay with it. It's really the beginning of the list, and in the bottom of, like what Justin called out, a couple Lions players that I believe could actually make this list.
I was going to ask you guys, does anybody have a problem with Riley Greene being above Kirby Joseph or Jared Goff? And you guys in the chat can answer as well, because I, to the shock of absolutely no one, do not have a problem with that. I know it's hard because Jared Goff is the quarterback. If you wanted to put him over Riley Greene, I would be okay with it. I actually was just happy that Riley Greene has representation on this list. It's just when it comes to Riley Greene, for me, what I always say is that the Tigers had obviously a miracle run at the end of the year, but when you look at the totality of the season, Tigers made the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. Riley Greene led the team in every single major hitting statistical category. That to me means a lot. I'm not saying he carried the team the full way through, because obviously Parker Meadows came on strong, Torque came back, Carpenter, pitching chaos, Skubal, et cetera, but what Greene did last year and then what he's parlayed that into this year, that gives a lot of weight to me. But if you would have said Goff is above him, I would probably personally put Goff above him. Even though I have more of an emotional attachment to Greene than Goff, Goff at 9 is
positional value, top 5 MVP candidate in the NFL. He just did have that season. It's like, I know the flash, the pizzazz that people want to see out of your top quarterbacks. Guys, he just is. You're going to have to accept that he is that mold. And in every era, every generation, there's been that quarterback. He's just kind of this era's version of that we've seen. Maybe he doesn't have what you guys would traditionally call the biggest arm or the most mobile legs, but he's just a surefire, very, very big game, accurate quarterback. That's what Jared Goff is. I don't know who he is in the timing routes. I do believe, for the sake of what they just accomplished, I actually would swap, and I would probably have Riley Greene a little lower, and Jahmyr Gibbs is one that I'm looking at. I think that's a healthy spot for him on this list to be able to launch forward. But I don't know. The Riley Greene one is one I would probably go, Kirby Joseph, Jared Goff above him, and Riley Greene at 9.
And this is another one where I think it's tough. I think you could actually argue Gibbs over Hutch. And again, when it comes to emotional attachment, I'm more emotionally attached personally to Aiden Hutchinson. And I think
that surprises me. That's a surprising take.
If Hutch didn't get hurt, I think he'd be top 3. But we can't live in, we can't live in what we hoped. We have to live in what was. And the fact that Aiden Hutchinson's season was cut short, even though on a per game basis he was on pace to have over 20 sacks, you have to deal with what is. And I don't know if I would do it, but I wouldn't be mad at all if you just like flip-flopped Gibbs and Hutch.
For what we're saying Gibbs is supposed to be, and the potential of us realizing he can reach that, he was just a hair away from 2,000 yards, splitting some time with David Montgomery in the backfield. And I believe that if he takes just a small step forward, then you're talking about a player that's going to be definitely 2,000 yards, probably over 600, maybe closer to, I'll say 600 receiving yards. And getting crazy on the ground. Can he get to that 1,500 yards on the ground? That will be to be seen, because I want to keep him healthy. And when you have a David Montgomery, there's no need to potentially run him up to the tune of 23, 24, 2,500 all-purpose yards. But to be able to give him that mark of reaching the 2,000 all-purpose yards, that I do believe he will make. And it does. I think based on potential, he has the ability to definitely catapult up this list. But if he and Aiden Hutchinson both play to their potentials, then they are both, I believe Aiden Hutchinson should be ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs, but that they both will move up this list potentially.
I see a couple of things in the chat. Alan W., Cade over Amon-Ra.
Not yet.
It's tough, isn't it?
Shame on me. I kind of would do that one.
I don't think that's indefensible. Because obviously Amon-Ra has – it's weird because he's obviously one of the driving forces of that offense. He's two-time All-Pro. I would still probably put Amon-Ra above, but I don't hate the argument.
He's the straw that stirs the drink, but this is so tough. I think this one actually is more or less 3A, 3B to me.
I don't hate that at all.
That's a tough one because what the Pistons just did was historic, and only 2 players in the entire league averaged what they averaged. And guess what? Neither one of them had an all-star teammate, but they both led their teams to playoff positioning. That's Cade Cunningham and Nikola Jokic. So it's tough. I think the crazy thing is this, to put this in perspective, is that we got a whole lot of these people that we can actually talk about now. And it's within the context of winning. All these teams we expect in their next seasons to do better than their previous ones, and it's because of these players that are on this list, as well as what the front offices and the coaching staffs are doing. But Diggity Dog says, there was a time when half this list would be Red Wings. Sad.
Yeah, and now I don't think any of them should be. And honestly, in my opinion, if you were to put a Red Wing, I would have voted for Mo Sider. But it's not something that I'm pounding the table for. Justin, you disagree?
What up, Justin? Before we get the legend on.
I completely disagree. If you wanted to argue Larkin, I see it. You want to argue DeBrincat, I see it. Mo Sider is not in that conversation yet.
All right.
He didn't take enough of a leap forward that last year that we expected.
I'm not gonna pound the table for it. That's just something that I have surmised. And I forgot his. Where did it go? It's What Up Doe with Detroit Gunnel. He said Hutch is definitely top 3
right now. He's calling a shot right now. I mean,
I don't think you can say that, but here's what I will say to give that comment some credence. And remember, I'm a slappy, but when you
shout out Willie B.
Shut up. When you talk about the next 5 seasons of Detroit Lions football, and I don't think this is a hot take, the best overall player on this team for the next 5 years, in my opinion, will be Aiden Hutchinson, even above Penei Sewell. I'm not saying that he's going to get 20 sacks every year. I'm not saying he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year every year. But as far as impact, as far as a couple of seasons where he either wins Defensive Player of the Year or finishes in top 2 or top 3, I think Hutch has that all laid out and all laid out in front of him, and he will be the number 1 reason why the Detroit Lions do break their Super Bowl drought. If they break it, regardless of if it's driven by Hutch or not, I will be thrilled. That's just my opinion, because I just believe that he's as much gold jacket loading as anybody else on this Lions team right now. I know people look at Sewell as the number 1 example of he's for sure gold jacket loading, and I agree with that for now. But Hutch will finish his career in Canton, Ohio with a gold jacket. I have no doubt about it.
They got a lot of them players then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
They got a few of them on
absolutely.
The shout out to Mr. Brad Holmes. But I know we also got another legend, certified legend already.
Yes.
There's no question about if you trust in Rod Beard. We definitely do. Let's take a quick one, say what up to some friends, and we will be back with the legend to get his opinion on this list. And then we got to get into a swish or a brick. It's going to be a swish or break segment, free agency style, volume 1.0. So attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy, every Thursday during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that D-Mac does. Why? Because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
Throw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
Spring is in the air, and Michigan is buzzing. 7.5 milligrams of real THC wrapped in bubbles, crafted with real fruit juice and no artificial sweeteners. They're big in flavor but low in calories and 100% hangover free. It's all bubbles with no troubles. Catch it in watermelon, cherry, strawberry, or try one of the brand new flavors, the best two flavors. Raspberry lemonade and peach. Crack a can, take a sip, catch a buzz. They're available at any of Loom's convenient 38 locations across Michigan. They even got one in Petoskey near my lake house. It's absolutely elite. So use code WSEN30 for 30% off your entire order online or in store. Go to www.loom.com today.
Hey, she said Petoskey. Shout out Petoskey. Beautiful area. Charlevoix, too. Like I said earlier, Michigan is freaking beautiful. But we do have the legend on right now. The artist formerly known as Detroit News Rod Beard is now with us. And, professionally, he's known as the senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But the people are calling you Lemon Pepper Rod. What up, though, Rod?
Let's go!
Lemon Pepper. I see it in the chat. I got to see who put that first. I will figure that out and give the credit. But Lemon Pepper Rod is here. And I don't know if you saw it. We were going over this top 10 list. And there's some things there where people say, hey, you know what? Cade above Amon-Ra. Penei Sewell snubbed for number 1. No Red Wings should make the list. Where's Brian Branch? I don't know if you got a chance to see any of that. But where are you at with at least like your top 3 of Detroit sports faces, these athletes here?
Who made this list?
Shout out to Travis, one of our social leads, our social manager. Shout out to Travis.
I know this is not a KG production because there is no Jalen Duren at number 3 on this list.
God. Come on, Rod. Come on.
That's funny.
Come on, Rod.
I always got strays for KG. KG always gets the strays, just because. So this list is. It says Detroit athletes. Like, what are we considering Detroit athletes? Like, what impact have they made? Or, I mean, Skubal winning a Cy Young, yes, you got to put him in the top 2 or 3. Cade has got to be number 2 on this list. He has to.
Ooh.
Cade is an all-star and led his team to the playoffs. Soon to be All-NBA. Penei Sewell is all-pro, which is this is warranted, but Cade has to be number 2 or number 3 on this list. Just off rip, just has to be. Aiden Hutchinson probably belongs a little bit high. I don't know who you move around.
Rod sounded like me from 2 years ago. Yeah. I like this.
Yeah.
You know, this is music to my ears. I wore the Batman shirt in homage to Arcade Crusader, one Mr. K. Cunningham. You know what? You know that I'm not mad at this take. And Flannel Sam is another guy who over the years has been on that front lines with the defensive Cade and seeing where he is now. How much do you weigh that? Historic run, not just historic run, but you're talking about, he's going to be All-NBA. Many people in national media are saying no less than second team. He did make the All-Star team, and he led this squad to a top 6 playoff spot. They just said skip all that play-in conversation, and then they battled with what's looking like to be the best team in the Eastern Conference in the New York Knicks.
Yeah, and just a couple more strays at Mr. KG.
No boy.
Weezy D313. KG would have had TA at 8 and Duren at 3. Absolutely. Probably had TA at 5. But shout out to brother KG. But I wanted to ask you, Rod, the Detroit Tigers, 49 games in, 32-17, best record in the American League, best record in all of baseball. Just your overriding thoughts of how well they've played this year.
I think I said a couple of weeks ago, holler at me after the 40-game mark. Yeah, this is real because they're finding different ways to win in games that they probably shouldn't win, where they don't pitch well and they figure out a way in the late innings to get a clutch hit. That's what's going to drive you to the top of the standings, is when you're able to win those 50-50 games, if you will, that go right down to the end. And we're not looking at this schedule like, okay, where are the Skubal games and where are these wins going to come from? It's from all over. And even when they're not pitching well, they're finding ways late in games to win. And then they're just blowing people out on occasion. So I'm getting a different view of this down here in Atlanta, where the Braves are 500 and people are just overly optimistic. And I'm like, bro, you need a team like the Tigers where you just every other day it's a dub. So I see the difference now, being a sort of struggling, middling team that's on the mediocrity treadmill, and what the Tigers have turned into now. And that's going to be most of Detroit sports, where the Lions did that first, and now we'll see the Pistons start doing that next season, where you're a winning sports town. That's just absolutely what Detroit is becoming now.
Hey, absolutely a winning sports town, and it happened, it feels like, overnight. Just one real quick. Mike G says Rod's T-shirt is a leader and best. Go Blue. I just wanted to make sure I shout out that Michigan shirt. But you're absolutely right. Michigan, Detroit, it's a sports town right now. And it's awesome to have all 4 sports teams right there on Woodward Avenue. It was interesting when we were conjecturing about that at the start and at the birth of Wake Up Woodward, over a year ago. Could we really have a squad? Could we really have teams where April and a D is a real thing? Can we really have teams where we're going down and it's watch parties in multiple different seasons of our year, because we know that the Lions are going to make playoff runs. We know that the Tigers are going to make playoff runs. And we know that the Detroit Pistons are going to battle. And I see some people in the chat like Weezy D313 who do believe that the Red Wings are right on time to join the other teams in the playoff sun. But obviously, the most important, Rod shakes his head no, but most importantly, Rod, when you look at these teams, in mine, we'll leave the Pistons for later. Obviously, the Detroit Lions are the one that people are starting to become, in my opinion, a little bit more polarized on. They have no concerns and no problems and no worries about saying NFC North, sure. But when you get to NFC, Flannel will tell you, you hear some tone as it relates to their inability to match up with the Eagles, the Commanders, and even potentially the Vikings in their own division. And when you look at what they say are like the biggest threats to the Super Bowl, the Lions aren't coming up in these conversations, Rod. Talk to me about. I see you, because I think that this is a mistake. We know what this Lions team is, man.
No, and I warned people about this when they went to the NFC Championship, that when you go into the following season with a Super Bowl or bust mentality, you set yourself up for disappointment and failure. Like, there are 2 teams that make the Super Bowl. There's one that wins it. If you don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's okay. The point for the Lions is they're a consistent playoff team that you can talk about. They're going to contend for the division every year. That's the win. Don't feel like if they don't make the Super Bowl, this is all just a big failure. And as a fan base, we've got to feel the same way. For the Pistons, it's not NBA championship or bust next year. Really, it's just get back to the playoffs. Prove this year wasn't a fluke. Set yourself in a direction to start doing stuff. And with the Lions, it is very much the same thing. Hey, just win your division. Put yourself in a position. Get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Like, that's a big deal. They didn't follow through and win everything, but people have to get in the habit of understanding that sports isn't just about you win or it's a failure. It's you have a team to root for. You could have all of your April and the D teams, and then when you get to the fall, you're not falling asleep because the Lions aren't going to be good and Michigan State aren't going to be good. We have a year-round fan base in Detroit and Michigan where we can root for teams all over the place, and the worst one is probably the Red Wings. And if they're on the edge of making the playoffs, I think Detroit is doing pretty good.
Hey, everybody's percolating right now, Flannel Sam.
Everybody's percolating. Red Wings percolating is saying that loosely, but that's neither here nor there.
Almost percolating.
They're going to get the least amount of attention on today's show. But Rod,
I saw one bubble.
To piggyback off of that, you said that you're not as bullish on every single year being Lions Super Bowl or bust. However, do you personally believe, Rod Beard, believe that in the Holmes-Campbell era, in this Detroit Lions era, that they will come away with at least 1 Super Bowl victory?
Victory?
Yes.
Sure. Why not?
Oof. Yeah.
Why not? I mean, you've got to get there first. And that's just getting over that hump of getting to a Super Bowl will be a win in itself. But to win a Super Bowl, I mean, it's one team that can do it every year. We're in the Eagles and Chiefs sort of era where they're dominating. Does that mean that the Ravens are a failure if they don't win a Super Bowl? Just from a fan perspective, I look at things a lot different. That this is the Lions' window to actually win it if they're going to, and this is the best chance in our lifetimes that it's happened. But if it doesn't, should people be disappointed? I don't think so. And again, I'm just different about my fandom and how I look at success in a sports town. The fact that you're there, that fans are engaged and interested, and it's not just out of habit, but it's because you have a good team. I think that's the success we should be talking about.
Yo, I absolutely love to hear that because we were just talking about this. A lot of fans, I believe, are so zoomed in, they're unable to even enjoy what's going on right now. They're literally criticizing young stars, Rod, when we just a decade and a half ago would champion Jason Maxiell, bro. Like, I'm just like, what are we doing right now? Like, where's the dynamite? Like, well, guys, like, Don Kelly exists, and we put him in our Role Player Hall of Fame. Like, so, but now you see certain criticisms of players like Riley Greene, Cade Cunningham, even Aiden Hutchinson. Before he got off to that hot streak, and I do believe that it's important what you just said to take a step back and actually realize. I don't remember the last time we've had a time like this. The Red Wings are right on the cusp. I don't ever remember a time like this. Have we had some good runs? Maybe a couple teams, yeah. But when you talk about with the Lions also being a Super Bowl contender, Rod, I don't know that there's never been a time like this for me. Let me just stamp that in my life, man, for Detroit sports. I do believe that there is something to enjoying it, going out with friends, slapping hands with strangers, and realizing that at the very least, the Lions have rewritten their history in the NFC North, in the NFL, and I do believe that going forward, they're in a much better trajectory than any time, obviously, in their history of this franchise, and unless you want to go back to the championship years.
I mean, and let's not be so short-sighted on this. Was it 5 years ago? Let's do 5 years ago. None of them were in the playoffs. None. And the Tigers were abysmal. And we were talking about, let's wait till we get to the point where all of these young pitching stars, when Skubal gets here and Mize gets here and Manning gets here, just wait till then. We're here. We're in that now, right now. And when Cade gets good, when he comes off of his injury, those are the things that we were talking about would be the heyday, and now we're there. So let's not just be entitled fans and say it has to be the Super Bowl or this team has failed. That just really gets at me when fans kind of take that tack on stuff.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, and one more question before we move on to the Pistons, and this is a Lions one. So PFF came up with, Pro Football Focus came up with a list of the top 25 players in the NFL under the age of 25. And the Detroit Lions had by far the most representation. They had 5 players. Yep. The rest of the NFC North combined had 0. What are your thoughts on that?
That's the window that we're talking about is a lot of the Lions' top players are going to get to their prime. We're going to see Jahmyr Gibbs for years to come being one of the prototypical backs in the league in terms of his ability. And, I mean, part of that, the litmus test there, is where he's going to go in fantasy drafts. Is he a top 5 player? Probably. Top 10, definitely. So people see the versatility. They see the value that he's going to have on this offense. And the young players here are going to sustain this and make this a team that's going to have opportunities to win a division, win the NFC, get to the Super Bowl. That's the fun in this. That's the success in all of this.
Hey, you know what, Rod, you're absolutely cooking, and I can't wait because we got Swisher Break on the way, too.
Swisher Break?
And I'll explain how things are going to go in the next segment, but we got to say what up, though, to some friends. And I believe it's one of my favorite reads on the network, huh? Is it time for Mad Packs?
Yes, it is.
Mad Packs. It's time for some Mad Packs. And Justin here to talk to you about Mad Packs. Shout out Brady for the new read. Mad Packs is the hottest new cannabis brand, and they are partnering with Woodward Sports, and they partner with us all right. They give us those Mad Packs all the time, and they are amazing. They are launching May 30th, 2025. Mad Packs is going to take your game to the next level. High-low is getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka is a live resin tarantula. That one is the bomb. Blizzard packs, THCA moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Coming to select retailers on May 30th, 2025. Stay tuned with Woodward Sports for all the latest updates.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Stay connected with Woodward Sports on all social platforms. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok for the latest sports news, live updates, and behind-the-scenes action. Don't miss out, especially because we're going to start bringing back some of these giveaways. We're going to have more information about the shows that are coming to the network. We're going to also have more information on just some of these, the watch parties. We know the White Claw Tigers event is about to be here, and we want you guys out there with us. So stay tapped in with the socials so you don't miss a thing. Hit that follow button now. Be a part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network at Woodward Sports everywhere. And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We got another segment with the legend. This one is going to be free agency themed, NBA style. We got the Detroit Pistons. This is going to be obviously their most pivotal offseason in a very, very long time. I was talking to Neil, and I said I believe that this is the most important offseason for the Pistons since they traded Chauncey for AI at the beginning of the season and then spent that money wrongly on Charlie V and Ben Gordon. Yeah. And it changed the entire trajectory of what their franchise was from that point forward. This one has an opportunity to change the trajectory of the franchise as well by bolstering the success that they've already had. But we got to start with a little bit of what they do have right now. They got three vets that were vital to their success last year that were all here on one-year deals. And in different ways, they can retain them all. But today's focus will be more Malik Beasley. And then we'll get into our Swisher break. Rod Beard, let's get the legend in here. And I'm going to drum roll him back in here. It's been a minute. I just realized that. So, hey, yo, shout out and welcome to the legend. Again, Detroit News, Rod Beard.
See, you're slipping up.
Senior sports editor.
Slipping up.
The Sun is not out like this in Detroit. The Sun is not doing this in Detroit right now.
It's not actually. We got Woodward Avenue behind me, and it's pretty dreary and rainy. But senior sports editor, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But Malik Beasley, there's multiple ways that the Detroit Pistons can retain him because obviously they're not going to get him on such a fantastic deal like $5-6 million a year. He's played himself into a pay raise, and when you look at other people around the league who kind of got that or set the market for a player like him, you're looking at about $19 million to $20 million on the high end, but some people believe that he could be, for a hometown discount, gotten by the Pistons for that $14 million mark. You could sign him using your almost Spotrac projects $24 million in usable or practical cap space that the Pistons will have, or you can sign him back utilizing one of your exceptions. The good thing about the Pistons being a non-taxpayer is that they actually have a $14.8 million taxpayer exemption, non-taxpayer exemption, that they can also utilize to bring back one Malik Beasley. And so instead of saying which one should we bring back, Trajan Langdon said that there is a focus on trying to bring back the people who contributed to them winning. So I wanted to focus this week, Malik Beasley. Next week, it'll be Dennis Schroeder. And then the week after, we will talk about one Tim Hardaway. But Malik Beasley, Rod Beard, is he a player that you believe is vital for the Pistons to bring back to bolster some of the success we're talking about we need to see them have next season?
He is absolutely vital. The key question is going to be the cost. And you mentioned $19 million. I mean, are the Lakers one of those teams that would just throw out a bunch of money at him? I don't know what their cap situation is looking like, but somebody like that who just needs three-point shooting to put around the rest of what they have, would they dole out that kind of money? I mean, the Knicks could use a three-point shooter. So you only have a finite number of teams who have the space to do it and who have the maneuverability to do it. The Pistons can. I don't know if that 14 mil is going to be enough unless he just really, really wants to be here. And that would be an excellent sign that he's willing to take a little bit of a discount in order to come back.
That's my concern. He played so well, made such an impact on a team, who needed role players and vets to step up and play important roles next to Cade Cunningham, and he did that. And you see also the effect of, he's not there with the Bucks among some other key ingredients that aren't there, but you see how much they lost there. And Malik Beasley, in my opinion, would have definitely changed certain things for that team with his scoring if he would have produced in the playoffs for the Bucks and for the Pistons. But you saw the effect of him not being there, and that's where I do look at his importance to this team in the regular season. I do believe he is vital to have here from a culture fit off the court, culture fit on the court, culture fit in the locker room. He is a champion for Detroit, champion for what do you need, Cade type of thing. And I like that type. When you're talking about building around your star player, when you're talking about not the strongest of free agent classes, but you have some much more flexibility in the next offseason and the offseason after that, that's where I am hoping that he just kind of sees, you know what, maybe the hometown discount in the place that he asked Trajan Langdon, please don't trade me. He had to have known at those conversations at the trade deadline what the Pistons were able to do. And so I'm hoping that, unlike the Zadarius Smith situation, that this does actually wind up in one where they find a way to work it out. But I do agree with you, Rod. I think it's going to be more of a discount if he's here, because somebody will throw that money at him over the $14 million.
Right, and I think the key here, too, is what does the rest of the market look like? And will they have to take him into that space and make him one of the last signings that they make? So it matters who they go out and get and whether they need to use that non-taxpayer exception or they need to go out and use the rest of their cap to do that. That will really dictate which of those slots he falls into.
I'm glad you stated that too, because they do have his non-exclusive bird rights. They can do some tricky things here with Schroeder, who they do have the bird rights, and Hardaway. They have some protections here that they can utilize, and that was interesting how they managed even that trade deadline to keep themselves in a position to where they are a non-taxpayer, because they weren't paying Schroeder much. That was so savvy by this front office, and that to me is why I really wish Trajan Langdon would have gotten a nod for Executive of the Year, because as I'm seeing how this offseason can unfold for the Pistons and what they already have right now, you look at the dysfunction around the league and how some of these other teams, they just didn't prepare well for this longevity or for the upstart that they already had. I'm not as bullish on Orlando Magic's future as maybe some of their fans and other people are, as I am the Detroit Pistons. And I do believe a lot of that has to do with how Trajan Langdon came in and more than steadied the ship, but put them on the right course.
Right, and when you look at Orlando too, I mean, they've got the Wagner and the Wagner twins, or not twins, Wagner brothers, and then Paolo. So they have the pieces there, and they did the same sort of model. Is they drafted really well to stock their roster with the pieces that they need. Now, they need a big veteran come in and help them out? Probably not as much as the Pistons did. So free agency is going to be really interesting in both of those cases to see which directions they go in to try to improve the roster and take that next step.
Yeah, and Rod, I think with Malik Beasley, both things can be true. One, without Malik Beasley, the Pistons are not the 6th seed. He was a worthy 6th man of the year, had a phenomenal regular season, second in the NBA in made three-pointers. Also, though, do you have any trepidations whatsoever when you see that Malik Beasley, both throughout his career and last year, is, at least by the numbers, a playoff dropper? Does that concern you at all about paying him, making him part of the next couple of years on this team?
No, because I think still $20 million is a reasonable number. The issue is they may not be able to pay it because of their cap situation. I think for all the things that Kool-Aid mentioned, the off-the-court stuff, the leadership in the locker room, just the swag that he brings to them, his ability to change a game around because of the three-point shooting. Does he come back next year and shoot 40+%? I would think so. So I think when you look at those things, it's worth it. And the steps that they're trying to take forward, it's worth it. And the timing of it all kind of works out. So the playoff numbers don't have any. I'm not at issue with that at all.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the players that they did compare Malik Beasley's situation to on the high end was Malik Monk with Sacramento. And that's where, when you look at his average salary, it is almost 19.5 million a year, and he just signed that contract. So that's where you're looking at Malik Beasley in a position to where the market is saying he has a claim to 19 or 20. There are players who know the effect he had and think about what he could do in a place, like you said, in a place like LA. If they always seem to find ways to create the space they need, cap-wise or roster-wise, to make the moves they need around LeBron James. And there are other squads out there. You're looking at Philadelphia 76ers, too, who they're saying that, no, they don't want to run back this trash year that they just had. They actually want to try and find a way that they can get some semblance of some good vets and some formidable players. And I do believe that a guy like Malik Beasley is going to show up on a lot of rosters of these all dysfunction teams that are looking to take a step forward in the East and the West next year.
Right, and all of that attention, it's like when you go to the party, the prettiest woman at the party is going to get a lot of attention. It's just, what does she want? And is she looking at you because you are the best person there for her? So I think that's what we're going to see from Malik Beasley, is saying that absolutely he wants to come back to Detroit. Just, is the number right? And does somebody go crazy and offer him $25 million? You can't compare 25 and maybe $15 million. That might be a little bit too much to overcome for a hometown discount. But if we're saying 19 or 18, the Pistons can offer 14 or 15. Yeah, I think that's a little bit closer.
All right, and you know what? JB, throw that graphic on up there, man, because it's time for a Swisher break. Let's rock, man. And because I'm ready to get into this, because obviously we got to get our free agent off-season outlook moving on ahead. I did find a way to squeeze some draft love in there, and shout out to Rob for the Michigan shirt. You guys will see a little bit of flavor that finds its way in the Swisher break today. But we're not sitting here doing mock drafts because the Pistons don't have a first-round pick, because they just didn't care to this year. They knew exactly what it was. We're not talking about it. And you know what? The first-round pick is Jalen Duren. That's who the pick is. You wound up picking two top 5 talents in Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, and that was what the pick went to. And you know what? Soon, word to KG, he's going to be the number 2 face of the Pistons. But let's rock. The Pistons, this is the first statement. The Pistons should prioritize a target like Brook Lopez over other options. So you're looking for players who are 7 feet and can stretch the floor, defending the paint a little bit, whether they're a vet, whether they're an upstart. The Pistons should prioritize that over the bigs that are under 7 feet. Swish or Brick, Flannel, Sam. And we use Brook Lopez, coming free agent, as our example.
So Brook Lopez is the example. So I don't know if this player would qualify or not. I would prioritize Miles Turner. Do you consider them the same, or do you consider Miles Turner a different kind of an animal?
Nope, the same.
Okay.
Well, I believe that he would provide you a little bit more than even Brook Lopez.
Yes.
But in terms of the mindset, the type of player, the position, yes, that one.
In free agency, considering how it's not the best class, I'll go Swish. I think Miles Turner would absolutely get this team into being at least a 3 seed, considering the East is becoming more and more wide open.
Yeah, and you know what? That dude, Justin, I got to get your opinion on this too. The Pistons, because we're going to talk about some players in the next question under that 7-foot mark. But as it relates to your focus, do you believe that it should be a player like a Brook Lopez, a player like a Miles Turner, your 7-footers who can stretch the floor, play defense? They're not crying for theirs necessarily. I don't think a lot of these people in this free agent market are going to. But Swish or Brick, that's what the priority should be over players that are under 7 feet right now. They lack size in this last playoff series.
I think that's a Swish. I think when you're talking about the jump that they could make from the middle of the pack in defense to the upper echelon, which JB Bickerstaff is known for, I think that comes from adding another rotational 7-footer that could really help out Beef Stew and Duren, because if you think of bringing in either Brook Lopez or Miles Turner, like, you're talking about a very deep power forward and center rotation between the 3 of them, and they all can, except for Stu, they all can have some offensive upside. And like, when you're adding a guy who can shoot it the way that Miles Turner and Brook Lopez can do, that will only help out Cade down the stretch when he needs to get those baskets in the paint, and you can have him ISO them out. And then if they bring that double in the paint, you can then kick it to Lopez or Turner. So I would love that personally.
I do. So I think about even the Cade back to the basket moments, man. That would be epic to be able to have more floor stretchers. But JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. What say you, man? We've seen Miles Turner and Brook Lopez torture us, and I'm wondering it's because of the level of player they are, or because we lack the height and the size, or a mixture of both.
This is a switch for me. I mean, it is the level of player that they are, and if I could, I'd add another name to that list as well too. A Nas Reed, just depending on how Minnesota does in their series, which Game 1 just looked ugly. So if he's available and Minnesota doesn't sign him back, that's definitely an option as well too. But this is a switch for me. This honestly takes a lot of pressure off of Duren, that you won't have to see him do as much this next upcoming season. So just take that pressure off of him, let him grow a little bit more, and let these quality vets kind of take over.
And I heard you mention a name. Keep that name in your back pocket because it has something to do with the next question, because you know he is 6'9", Nas Reed. And when you're talking about another player that might pop up in this thing, it's a player that I've seen of popular interest and intrigue to Pistons fans, but he also is under 7 feet. We're going to get there, though. Hey, before we get to the legend, Willie B, what say ye, man? You want them to finally go out there and solve this height issue, this size issue?
Absolutely, man. The height issue that Carl Anthony Towns kill us at the first round of playoffs. And I call it switch. You got Miles Turner, and you got Nas Reed. You know Nas Reed is 6'9", but wingspan do make up for height advantage. But there's another player that's under the radar free agency, Clint Capella from Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capella don't have the offensive ability, but he got the defensive ability and the rebound ability, the guard interior. But that's one of them. Of course, you got Miles Turner, and another one's a free agency, Mo Wagner from the Orlando Magic. So he could be a perfect
Hey, you
fit.
found a way to get some more Go Blue love in here.
Yeah,
Lord.
Hey, shout out Willie B.
So Mo Wagner, who's 6'11", who's a perimeter, he can shoot outside, and he can post up a little bit, and he can play a little defense. So that's a perfect fit for the free agency for solve our tall interior problem.
Hey, you know what? I see some in the chat here. I'm seeing big swish for Big CP. Michael Wary, though, a brick. MJ says Nas Reed, so I'm going to take that as a brick, too. Because he obviously is under the 7-foot mark. Chuck Brewer, player over 30, hard pass, brick.
Yeah.
Greg, 2025, swish. Randall Smalls, brick. So it's split, Rod Beard. What say ye?
Big brick. Huge brick. Because a lot of the names that you mentioned are going to want to start, and anything that takes minutes away from Jalen Duren, I am not for whatsoever.
KG
it's specifically Miles somewhere having a swisher. But specifically, Miles Turner plays with Legos. He cannot play on my team. A dude that plays with Legos. Can you imagine what the locker room? Can you imagine the locker room with Stu and Miles Turner?
What up,
JB
Smooth? Piggyback on that. What up, JB?
They would fight every day in practice. No, we can't. No.
You know what then? Shit
wrong
beats
with
Stu out of
Legos? That's
here.
the point. That's the point.
If that's what it would take.
Oh,
if you think they can't
heart
be
and
together,
soul?
Turner over Stu. If you had to choose,
I'm
that's
taking
just my
Turner.
opinion.
But
Man,
any
that's a
of the
tough
people
one.
that you're talking about is starting. They have to start, and you're taking minutes away and the growth away from Jalen Duren. That I think that's you're prioritizing the now in that situation, and I think you just have to hope for growth from Duren to kind of offset some of his limitations for right now. I don't think you can bring in somebody who blocks that.
You know what? Then let's get to this next question, because everybody, I think, wants this. And hey, let's set the music about -20.
Gotcha.
I think everybody wants one of these options. You've heard them already. You've heard some Clint Capellas this morning. You've heard some Bobby Portises. You've heard some Nas Reeds. Who's the swish? Who's a brick free agent prospect between Nas Reed? So these are players that have Nas Reed, Bobby Portis, Clint Capella. Who's the swish?
Who's the swish?
Yes.
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed?
Yeah.
I know that's the one that everybody has been on. I know JB Smooth, you've already said Nas Reed is the guy for you.
Yeah, Nas Reed is the guy for me.
Yeah, and but this is the thing though. When you're talking about the lack of height and the lack of size, do players like Nas Reed, Bobby Portis, and Clint Capella, who bring a lot of toughness, do they bring you that advantage from a size position standpoint as well? Obviously, what they were lacking at 7 foot, do they play bigger than their size in your opinion?
I mean, with Nas Reed, it's not even so much about playing bigger than his size. I just think he's very skilled. He can shoot the three. He was one of the players who you could look at as could have been in the sixth man of the year running with Minnesota. That's more what I look at. I don't look for somebody to play bigger than his size. I look for overall? He's a very skilled 6'9" player who can play a little defense. Has got good size, not 7-foot size. That's more what I care about.
Yeah, and I am looking for somebody who can add to what they have rim protection wise, add to what they have from just, it was tough seeing Tobias Harris battling with the fours and the fives. Like, it was tough seeing even Osar Thompson and Pinches have to battle with the fours and some of the fives, and that's where sometimes when I think about the 7-footers, for as much as we love Beef Stew, that 6'9" sometimes does him wrong, despite how much effort he's putting. Yeah. And that's why I was like, I know how much we want these guys. That's why the first two questions for our free agency outlook was that, and I like the caveat that Rob put on there. Those other guys, they probably are looking to come here and say, hey, cute season, Jalen Duren, but we're still starter level. And so I do get that caveat. But, Willie B, I know you're already on this. Nas Reed, man. Is it Nas Reed or is it Clint Capella for you?
I want Nas Reed. If I want an offensive threat in the interior, a stretch forward that could shoot, and could post up, and he plays a little defense. Clint Capella it could be a brick on that one because Clint Capella don't have the offensive ability. He's just he's an older version of Jalen Durham. He's tough. He could play. He could play guard. I said what I said. He's an older version of Jalen Durham. Yes, I said it. He can rebound, but offensive ability, he don't have much.
Wow.
So I take a Nas Reed over Clint Capella in the free agency, so he could have some offensive load. Then they take the load off of Jalen Durham. Clint Capella is like a older version of Jalen Durham, and I say what I say, Mr. Beard, respectfully.
Rod, what say ye? I'm seeing some Nas love in the chat. I see Chuck Brewer.
Go to the comments. Go to the chat.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
We're going to wait for him to roll in here, man. But I see him here. Swish from Nicholas Duncan. Let me see. Dante151. Nas Reed. That's what I've been seeing more consistently out of anything is people are ready for Nas Reed. But Adis411, he believes that Bobby Portis will be nice. And when I think about Bobby Portis, there is a lot of just nights where I remember in insignificant games, like, bro, you could have just let us win that, but no, you want to actually go out there and play all really, really tough and hard and physical and throwing our players around. From that perspective, sometimes I'm like, I would love to have just a little bit of an upgrade there. Because, again, when you think about Tobias Harris, I don't think that it was effective for him to have to battle with Karl Anthony Towns and carry a large offensive load. That, to me, I think you want to be able to reduce his defensive usage on those bigger forwards where it's going to drain what he can do on the offensive side, because you need Tobias Harris at your second highest paid player now because Cade Cunningham's max contract's about to turn up. You need Tobias Harris to be a reliable scorer, a reliable ISO scorer, especially in those fourth quarters. That's where I do believe one of these players would be a big help. For that, they can take some of that defensive usage on those bigger fours off of Tobias Harris.
Right, and part of the reason we're talking about this is because of Stu's injury and not being in the playoffs as much. That kind of put the glaring eye on that. If Stu's there, maybe this isn't as much of an issue. But to answer the question, I like Bobby Portis in this situation because he's a gamer. Every night he is out there playing like crazy. And Nas Reed absolutely is the swish in this. But I think a lot of teams are going to go after Nas Reed, and you're going to be in a bidding war, same sort of way. You've got to be economical with this and sort of budget your money the right way in order to bring back Malik Beasley and have a chance at one of these bigs. If you get both of those things done, I think you've had a successful offseason.
Hey, you know what? Just Football Academy Australia, thank you for being in the chat. He says, yes, Bobby is solid and probably well-priced to back up that point. I do agree with you guys. Nas Reed has been a player we've all talked about for probably a few years. But when you're talking about the maneuvering they're going to have to do with the cap, if they keep a draft pick, there's been some chatter on Hoops Hype, shout out to them, about the Pistons potentially trading back into the first round, to the low end of the first round, and grabbing a player that they really like. They're going to have to keep their cap space fluid, especially if you're talking about potential trades during the draft. So that is one where I do believe Bobby Portis brings you some toughness. And he brings you a lot of what you want from that defensive standpoint. And like you said, that gamer every night. And you got another vote for your Mo Wagner one.
Yep.
Justin from North Carolina says Mo Wagner with a question mark. But I got another question here as it relates to our free agency. Because obviously we're looking at some of these free agent outlooks. We already discussed one of our vets that we want to re-sign. We talked about some of the needs that we have on that front line. Next week we're going to talk about some of the needs that we have with the guard rotation. We're going to focus more on Dennis Schroeder. But we also have a draft. The Pistons do have the 37th pick in the draft. And it's going to be interesting how this thing lays out because they're being mocked to have their opportunity to pick several different players that we like during the college season. At one point in time, I thought one of these players was going to play himself out of that second round. But they're saying that as things are laying right now, the Pistons may have their choice at several of these players. Today, we'll focus on two. Who's the swish? Who's the brick? Draft prospect for the Detroit Pistons at pick number 37, Johni Broome, or Michigan's own Danny Wolf. That's a tough one. I see you. Finally, you saw you.
Is it? This is not tough at all. The swish is absolutely Danny Wolf. And you know why? Because Danny Wolf is a more skilled player and he has upside. The reason that Johni Broome was better in college is because it was his third year at Auburn and his fifth year as a starter. Danny Wolf is still learning some things. Obviously, he was a little bit too more turnover prone, but he's just so skilled. He can pass better than Johni Broome.
Willie B is over there losing it
He can
right
shoot
now.
the three better than Johni Broome. I think he's more athletic. Johni Broome is
fuck
where
out of
he
here
is.
with that, man. I'm sorry.
I think Johni Broome is also a little bit of a plotter. Like Danny Wolf is fluid.
I'm sorry.
He is a more skilled player. He's got more upside. He does some things better, and he's more athletic. Johni Broome's a damn good college player that's going to, I think, do very little in the NBA, in my opinion. But I know it might sound slappy because I'm a Michigan fan, but I don't think it's slappy at all.
Let's go.
Put it on a Post-it note. Put it on a
I like
Post-it
it.
note. Let's go.
Yeah. Danny Wolf to the Pistons. That dude, Justin. Who's the switch? Who's the brick? Johni Broome or Danny Wolf?
I'm dead serious. He'll be playing for the Huangdong Tigers in 2 years. Like, I'm dead serious. There's a reason why he had one of the lowest verticals in the combine, and he's an undersized center. He has no. He doesn't have the athleticism to play in the NBA.
So despite what he showed in March Madness,
doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter. He's 24 playing against 18-year-olds. I literally couldn't care less. Danny Wolf is a 7-footer with skill who can shoot it from distance. He can dribble. He can block. He's a great defender. Like, he literally is. If you're taking a flyer on someone in the second round, this is the dream flyer. Like, I couldn't even think of a player that I would rather take at the 37th overall pick. And also, my boy Ryan is about to tap in as well.
Hey, shout out to intern Ryan. You guys remember he needs a nickname. What up, though, intern Ryan?
What up, though? But I'm with everyone here on Danny Wolf, Johni Broome, great college
Everybody
player.
but Willie. He's closed the door to the sound booth. He's only opened it to talk to Stick.
He says blood pressure. But you guys talked about 7-footers and be able to handle the ball. And you could potentially get that without even going into free agency and getting Danny Wolf. I will say Wolf is probably one of the most frustrating basketball players I ever watched with turning the ball over. But exactly. But you also got to think here this. Cade Cunningham is going to be the main ball handler on this team. And Danny Wolf at Michigan was one of the main ball handlers on this team. You take that away from him, kind of make him more of the second option. I think he's going to thrive. But the only issue I have with Danny Wolf is you could potentially see him in the first round, being taken in the first round. You may have to trade up and take that guy. Johni Broome is more of a second rounder compared to Danny Wolf. I see him more as a first rounder.
I'm sorry, and I agree. Johni Broome is 24, but he moves like he's 35, and he hasn't played a minute in the NBA yet. Damn good college player, but Danny Wolf, we're talking about upside. And I agree with you that Danny Wolf at times was frustrating to watch, but he was also scintillating to watch in a way that any Michigan player has been, in my opinion, since a guy like Mo Wagner. He's just got too much of a skill set. He's got so much upside. I think he'll go in the first round.
Rob picked the day to wear that Michigan shirt. I got to go to a residence party on the show. And just early on, Willie B, you do have some support, okay? Vincent E said, brick, get him, Willie. So your turn is almost here.
Y'all ain't
He's
gonna run my
crashed
blood
out in there.
pressure up. I don't want to hear that shit. I mean, y'all.
Hey,
not
even
gonna-
Resident Sparty is gonna have our back
Let's
here.
go, Resident
I'll
Sparty.
bet on it.
God,
Even
okay.
Resident Sparty, he knows what's up with Janai Broom.
JB,
what?
don't let anybody sway you. Tell me what you really
23
think.
vertically. Wow. But
Look,
what it calls skill set, size.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Willie's ready to go off
He's
on this one,
ready,
so
dog.
I'll just make mine short and sweet. Look,
Sorry,
Janai
baby.
Broom is not a bum, everybody. He will have a decent NBA life, but it won't be that great. I'm going with Danny Wolf on this one. The simple fact of skill, and he can improve. I know he's a little bit turnover prone, but still, he can improve. If he gets better, I have my faith in Danny Wolf. I'm sorry.
Hey, Willie B. What up, though? And I see you, Chuck Brewer. He says, I see Wolf being mocked at 22-ish. This conversation is pointless. It's
fun, though.
It depends on how the
It is.
NIL lays out. The way that Hoops Hype and their sources, credential sources that they do have, and their connection to all of the different publications, main publications for the teams, they do believe that the Detroit Pistons will have their opportunity to pick one of those players. Just depending on how the NIL affects how players choose to go back to college or stay in the draft. And based on that, they're saying that the Pistons should have their selection of several players that were popular either in their college tournament run or in the March Madness. I was going to put that in text, but I was like, let me just talk it just to make Willie B wait just a little long. He over there simmering.
Yeah,
What up, though, Willie B?
got him upset.
Hey, it is your turn now. Hey, what's the switch or brick prospect? Janai Broom or Danny Wolf?
I'm like Danny Wolf. He need one more year. One more year, respectfully, because he's such a skilled player, and I like how he plays. Don't get me wrong. Ball handling 7-footer, could shoot inside, but inconsistent with turnovers. He need one more year, just one more year for a junior year. But John Bruce, his numbers, of course, it's college basketball, NBA is different levels. But John Bruce is 6'10", 240, strength, bull. So what? He don't have it vertically, but he's strong. He could score. He could go. He go inside out. And the guy, he's immovable when it comes to boxing out and getting in position.
So you see like some Corliss Williamson type vibes.
Of course, a little bit, but he's 6'3" inches taller, and he's more strong, and he's a lot more skill set. Zach Randall type of player, because he can move. I mean, he can move, but what you go sit there is the experience level that he go bring to the table. That's all.
Hey, you know what? I understand your viewpoint a little bit more, but I don't know. Danny Wolf, man, we've been saying this all season. And what up, though, that dude, Justin? He's ready. Tap back in, bro.
I'm sorry. I just got to say one more thing about Janai Broom. We're talking about an undersized front court player who
6'10",
can't shoot threes,
is undersized now.
who relies on his physicality
Yes.
when he's not going to be the biggest guy on the floor in the NBA. That is a recipe for disaster. Like, this is when you're looking at a prospect, especially in the second round, a guy who a lot of the times isn't even making the rotation in their first year. Okay. You want to take a swing. I'm not taking a swing on a guy whose his ceiling is lower than Danny Wolf's floor. It doesn't even make sense.
I would probably trade up into the bottom of the first round to get him.
It's
I would take
undersized.
this year in 2007 second round picks, and I would trade up if he's sitting there at the bottom of that second round.
7-footer.
But Rod Beard, what say ye? The Swisher Brick prospect, Janai Broom, Danny Wolf. Great shirt, by the way. Go blue.
No, I donate my time to let them hash this out a little bit more. I don't even have anything to say that's consequential in comparison. Let them talk. Let them go at it.
Shout out Rob,
Sure
man.
thing,
He
Rob.
said he actually loves the discourse that's going on right now. And you know what? Just to give some other Janai Broom, I do understand what you're talking about. The physicality. You're talking about what he could bring. But do we need more vertical? Do we need more of a reliable floor stretcher? And I'm seeing people in the chat actually who at first it was overwhelmingly Danny Wolf, but some people are now bringing up things like his turnovers. Can Danny Wolf really shoot? For me, I believe that at the NBA level, when you're talking about the development, the strength training, and things of that nature, I believe that's where you're going to see Danny Wolf really take that next step forward. When we talked about even the incremental steps that we saw Ron Holland take and Asar Thompson take, and even Cade Cunningham this year, even Jaden Ivey. What was one of my first reports out of training camp when we were able to go in? These guys been in the weight room. And what did we see? Jaden Ivey getting to the rim better. Ron Holland was able to shoot the three a little bit better than people thought he could. He showed a little bit more of that chop. And we understood then, especially with their work with Fred Vincent, that there is something there to these players who come in very, very skilled. If you have the right environment around them, you have an opportunity to push that potential even higher. And that's where, when you're talking about which one has a higher potential, I do believe that is Danny Wolf, because he is so versatile and so skilled, bro. But I didn't want to just trash on Janai Bruin today. I feel you, brother.
I mean, it's understandable. It's, Danny Wolf's skill set is tremendous. John Broome has just got the experience and the size for it, and hey, they both got size for it, but it's the IQ level for both players. And John has got a little edge of it.
That's saying though, but Chili Damon, he says Broome is better than Paul Reed. And you know what's interesting about the exercise is there's been
that's true.
We have
Who
said that? Who said that's true? Is that JV? They said
me
that
and
Janai
Willie.
Broome would be better than Paul Reed right now.
That's me and Willie. I agree with that.
Jay, the move is Rod is beside himself.
False. No, they might be the same age. Because Janai Broome is 37, but he is not better than Paul Reed. Let's not do that.
Wow, he's 24.
That's what we talk about this. So because I realized, even though they don't have a first round pick, they have everything they need to get back into the first round. But they're also going to have an opportunity if a player falls or not to be able to select somebody at a position of need with high potential. And we know at this organization right now, when you're picking in the second round, it is about the potential. And I do believe in what this organization has from a development standpoint. If you take a swing on a player like a Danny Wolf, man, definitely.
Hey, you know how I feel about it. We got any more questions?
No, that was the last one.
Oh,
we got through a free agent.
Nice.
We got through the draft picks. We got through our free agents to be as well. And so far, the way it's shaping up, people want Malik Beasley, Naz Reid, and Danny Wolf.
Doesn't sound so bad. Although for the record, it was a tough decision between Naz Reid and Bobby Portis. I like Bobby Portis a lot as well. But Willie, one quick thing.
As a crew, let's set it in stone, because I'm going to have Justin make our Volume 1.0 graphic. Is it Naz Reid or is it Bobby Portis?
I'm willing to concede Portis.
Portis.
If
we want to make that like our like crew.
We'll do that. We'll do that one. I like that because Rod also went with Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
She did. You guys heard what I said about Bobby Portis. He's just one of those guys who I have bad memories about him because he punches the Pistons in the face every time, but it's not just us. That's just the way he plays every single night.
Him and B. Stu.
But Rod Beard, any last words, man? Free off-season, our Pistons off-season outlook. We got some of these things filled in as it relates to which vet we're going to bring in. Do you want to keep Malik here? We all said yep. We've all Slick says no. Bobby Portis. We all said yes. We can do it without even tapping into the cap space. It just depends. If they throw that bag, though, at 19 or 20, we said we might tap out. Who, Malik Beasley? Yeah. When who? Oh, when Ivy comes back? Oh. I love this.
I don't have a mic. We'll talk.
We're going to talk about it. But Rod Beard, any last words from you?
No, I think they are heading in the right direction, and the way that they handle cap space in the offseason and everything else is going to be critical for what they can do next year, obviously. So, hey, we're not talking about a first-round pick. Maybe trade into the first round, but everybody got to take the draft lottery off, and now we're talking about how we can improve draft position. That's light years away from where we were last year or even 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, so Rod, I did want to ask you, what are you doing in your time now? You don't have to do those real GM spins anymore, those tankathon spins. What are you doing with yourself?
I was just telling somebody about that yesterday. Like, there's no tankathon spins. It's like you can look at the cap space and you can watch the playoffs and be like, oh, well, yeah, we had a shot here. We just didn't. Like, if the Pistons beat the Knicks, would they have had a chance against the Celtics? You don't know, but you can see a pathway where they can be a legitimate playoff team. And some of these windows are going to start closing on some of these other teams. Can Boston keep the band together there? Milwaukee, we know, is going to start trying to disassemble what they're doing. If Giannis goes to the West, the Pistons could be a top 3, top 4 team in the East. And that's, again, from where we were last year, that is ridiculous to even say out loud.
That is ridiculous to say out loud, but we didn't know the type of player Cade Cunningham to be. It was going to be possible. And now we're seeing when they call him a connector and the leader and he can uplift his team. He did something that, only a couple, these special players in the league can do. Lift the squad to a surefire playoff spot without really any all-star team at help. Now it's about what you do from this point. But thank you, Rod Beard, for giving us your time. He is a senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Thank you so much, man. Still repping Detroit and Michigan proud. We appreciate you, brother.
Always, brother. We'll talk.
Right.
Have a good show.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. Have a good day. Let's say what up to some friends and make sure people can get a little bit of that what's trending today, JB Smooth.
For sure. Let me tell them about Jars Cannabis, because sports fans, I hope you're ready to hit the game or simply chill at home. Jars Cannabis has you covered regardless. There's 27 locations across the state, 9 alone in Metro Detroit, so don't fear, there's always a shop nearby you. But always look out for the stores popping up in Grand Rapids, Milan, Michigan, and I'm forgetting one as well, too. There's another store popping up as well. But if you don't have time to shop in-store, check them out online at jarscannabis.com or their Instagram at jars_live. Because you know what? I know you want to get high.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media: X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
A Les Stanford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. They've got all kinds of great deals. They got multiple locations in the Metro Detroit area, including in Dearborn and in Ferndale. They've got great deals, as you can see on the screen. 2025 Sierra leased for $169 a month. 2025 Hummer EV SUV $699 a month, and then the 2025 Envision and leased for $259 a month. Get to Les Stanford today. If you admire Spencer Raxter in any way, shape, or form, you can say that you got your car at the same place as him. So get yourself to Les Stanford. Support who supports us.
And Mark White.
Absolutely. Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
And we are back at his Wake Up Woodward. We're just gonna throw it over to JB Smooth. He got hands, so I know he's gonna catch it. And shout out to JB Smooth. Let's get what's trending started for the people.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
What up, dog? To the incomparable JB Smooth. Let's rock.
Hey, what's up, chat family? What's going on, guys? I'm gonna hop right into these videos for you guys, but I got a question. What if I offered you a job right now that's paying $20 an hour, and all you have to do is wear a t-shirt and march around a certain building? Would you accept it?
In a vacuum, yes, but I have a feeling there's a caveat.
I'm wondering.
It's like a
what
catch
this
to it. What's the
t-shirt
catch,
says now.
JB?
Well,
what you setting us up for, JB Smooth?
Good question.
Well, this job is offering going on right now as well too, as you are getting paid $20 an hour to wear free Diddy T-shirts outside.
What?
Okay.
First, no.
Hey.
Secondly, you will sell your soul for only $20 an hour?
It's $20 an hour. You get a free
Who's
T-shirt.
your manager? Who's your agent? What the heck? It's Diddy. He's wrong. Dead to rights. You had the ability to go and extort this situation.
Bring the
20
baby
an hour.
oil.
If I'm gonna do this, 200 an hour. What?
I think Willie's
20
in.
hour?
No, I ain't about that. No, I ain't about that. They gonna bring some baby oil. That's
Whoa.
protest, you know what I mean? But I don't know about all that.
That's crazy. $20 an hour.
$20 an hour to wear a free Diddy
That's
T-shirt and march around
Absolutely
the courthouse that his case is going on.
Absolutely.
That
Nah,
was shocking.
nah.
I didn't expect
I
that.
didn't.
I thought
I
something
messed up
my
going
hair
on.
even. I was
Did we
like-
look? All
I
of
thought it
these
was something
videos,
worse.
bro. Definitely make sure social team gets these. This is wild. You gotta ask people how much would it take them to do this as well, because I feel like we got some people who would cave at a certain amount.
I think somebody
2,000 an
would.
hour.
It's Diddy, man. He's so radioactive. It's not even funny.
Stephen Davis said more oil.
Like, yeah. Case of point.
Extra lube on the side.
What having the show, dog?
Like I said, $20 an hour right there. There you go. But
Mike Willett says $20 is $20.
Oh, man.
Okay, he said kidding. He said kidding.
Oh,
kidding,
man.
kidding.
Mike is my guy.
He
Shut
ain't
up,
kidding.
Mike.
He don't sound like kidding like that. He sound
He
serious
just
like a
puts free
motherfucker.
Diddy in the chat. Come on, A-Diddy.
no,
One
don't
of
do
the
that.
OGs, bro.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh man, you guys, I gotta show you this place because I don't know if you've ever had to work on a construction site or anything like that. But finding a place to shit is just the hardest thing to do. But I gotta ask you guys: is this the most greatest place you could take a shit?
This is so crazy, bro.
I feel sorry for the Sharks.
I was gonna
just
say, it's
drops.
the fish underneath for me. It's just like, goodness gracious, they know exactly where to be, I guess.
Is this not the greatest place to take a shit? What do you guys think?
That would be the most weird place to get a swirly. I don't even know why I thought about that. But
Why would you think about that right now?
I don't even know. It's the way the camera goes in. It feels like my head is going into this open ocean, shark-infested toilet water. Goodness gracious. This is
Sharks
so
be
crazy.
mad in the mug. Man, what kind of shit is this?
That's actually a good one, Willie.
It's that 7-Eleven chili dog you just got going on right there. But finally, I will end what's trending with this because the great.
Wait. Go
What's
back to
up?
that
What's
thing.
up?
I get it. Does it have sidewalls? Because you just it does.
It has
I just
sidewalls.
had to-
Yeah.
Because you're right.
Yeah, it has sidewalls.
For those moments when you have too many Coney dogs or White Castle.
See,
Or chili cheese fries.
see, it's got you covered. It's got you covered.
Thank you.
Well, finally, I will end what's trending with this because the great poet, Too Short, once said, "If you can't hang with the big dogs, stay on the porch." And I have to agree with them. Heisman.
What? F them kids type energy.
That is
He
definitely
got
F
the
them
Voodoo
kids.
energy, huh?
I mean, I guess if you want an ego boost, you can relive your glory days by
Heisman.
stiff-arming a kid.
Little prick.
What possesses you to do this? Like, I just don't even understand.
Just being an ass, that's all.
Do we even see anybody else
Being a
out
prick.
there like remotely close to this guy's size or height?
They should do
The
like
adults,
slow
yeah.
well, they're slow motioning it right there, but in the background play like the old NFL films music.
Bam.
This is like kicking and screaming when Will Ferrell snapped on them kids.
Yes.
I'm over here jamming
See?
out too, man.
See, it's perfect.
Sit your ass down.
I mean, it is a heck of a stiff arm. It's just, it's to a kid. But I mean, hey,
Sit your
look.
ass down.
He didn't even break speed. Look at that.
Nope, that's
No
full
hits in his
stride.
motion.
Just pow.
To be fair, I'm sure Derrick Henry's done that to a couple like actual.
He didn't even have to do that though. Look how he sizes this up the entire time. Like, he looks at the kid like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna stiff arm you." It's like you didn't have to do that. Just hit him with a little juke. hurt his confidence a little bit, but instead he wants to physically bruise him too. That's crazy.
Goodness, it's crazy. But that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag while we got some time.
I wonder what would happen if I did that to my kids in the JJ elbow.
Oh boy,
I wonder. But do we have any? We'll see, man. We'll take maybe one or two mailbag questions before we wrap up the show. If we see some pop up in the chat. And I do know for our Woo Crew Pistons version 1.0, our volume 1.0 free agency outlook, we have re-signed Malik Beasley, a switch for the non-taxpayers exemption, but a brick if it's for a Malik Monk type deal at $19.5 million plus. Free agent switch for Bobby Portis, brick for Naz Reid, and there is some context there. We think he's a more skilled player, but the money fits a little bit better when you're talking about Bobby Portis versus the effect he could bring, giving us the toughness. And the draft switch, if available, Danny Wolf over Janai Broom, and I would even trade up for Danny Wolf as high as. Think about it. You've traded up to get Sadiq Bey. You've traded up to get Isaiah Stewart. You traded up to get even a Marcus Sasser. I would trade up. You traded up as high as 16. I would trade up as high as the 20s to get a shot at the potential that Danny Wolf possesses.
I don't hate that at all. I would probably do the same thing.
I see Alan W. in the chat. He says, realistically, what kind of year two jump are you looking to see from Ron Holland? I want to let THJ walk, that's Tim Hardaway Jr., and give his minutes to Ron, Asar, and Ivy. That's like 30 more minutes a game for the young guys. I think that Ron Holland showed a lot more than people expected in year one. And it was, when you go back to even our draft coverage, there was initial shock if they didn't take a shooter. And then we talked about, well, let's break down the pick. And it was a lot of what placed him on my top 10 draft board. He does everything else so well. I think that development at the NBA level as well as NBA strength training is what's going to help improve his shot. But as we saw with Asar and as we saw even with Ron Holland, their pure energy, their IQ for the game, their ability to finish in the paint and at the rim, their ability to help to push transition and put pressure on the defense, that to me gives me a lot of hope for these players. Where you want to see them take that next step even more so is to be as instinctive as Tim Hardaway, because he did lead this team by a large margin as it relates to taking charges on the defensive end, and on the offensive end, he was actually one of your higher players at setting screens on this entire team. And when you look at the sets that they run for Cade Cunningham, they generally would run it with either Duren or with Tim Hardaway setting the pick and roll for him. So those little intricate things for how they run their plays and have success, you want to make sure that Ron and Asar are ready for that.
I'll say Ron could be a guy who consistently takes charges, who sets screens. Yep. I think a little bit more half-court offensive refinement, and honestly, more usage. I like to point out his per 36 numbers were pretty damn good. He just didn't get the run that other rookies did because the Pistons ended up being a really good team. He was very effective. I could see a big leap in terms of numbers and even in terms of effectiveness because I think they'll need him more.
And you know what? One thing of note, he and Asar Thompson will have a full off season of having NBA experience and being able to work out with that as their perspective. Sure. We know Asar Thompson got shut down last year due to the blood clot issue. Mm-hmm. And so Trajan Layden did speak to the fact that their growth, their internal growth from players like, and he named specifically Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson, who will get this full complement of all season to work out. Their growth is what's going to make this team better, more so than anything else. So
I actually have another mailbag, and this is from Ant-Man0313. So, are you Anthony Edwards or not? No, I'm kidding. Should have played a little better last night. But anywho, I'm just kidding. Sam, do you think we should just be happy with the Lions just making the playoffs and getting the 1 seed? Like Rod said, SMH. No, I disagree with what Rod said there. I just think it's interesting to have that kind of a perspective because we are all, as fans, we think this team's going to win a Super Bowl at some point. We're very obviously high on the team. We've talked a lot of talk. The Lions have walked a lot of the walk so that we could continue to talk the talk. But it was interesting to see a perspective like Rod, who I think takes more of a 30,000-foot view. Like he reminds me a little bit of Terry Foster. Yeah. They're not fanboys. They are a lot more measured in their approach. I still disagree with what he said, but I think his perspective was very much needed, just in general, but on today's show as well.
And that's why I tried to definitely kumbaya that as well. I do believe the Lions have to win during this window. We understand how long we've been talking about them not even being a participant in the big game. You got to at least get there.
Yeah.
And if you don't win it, how long will you be waiting? How long does this window stay open? How long does everything continue to turn up roses? But at the same time, don't miss the fact that we're in a period of time where, you know, I remember my dad stressing about the Pistons. Me, I was like, oh crap, we got a good team. And as a kid, I was able to enjoy that. And when it did ultimately culminate into a championship, it was like I was able to enjoy that ride rather than stressing the whole way out. You know, there were players that I heard people dissing. You don't know how many times you heard people kind of taking little shots at Chauncey early on in his tenure, Ben Wallace early on in his tenure, and things of that nature. The pick of Tayshaun Prince early on in his tenure, but then those wound up becoming players that people championed and cheered. And that's why I say sometimes you got to enjoy the ride while still being able to maintain a certain aspect of expectation, which is why I do agree with you. They say that their expectation was win the Super Bowl. They told us what the window was. We got a few more years of this golf contract before they have to decide what to do. And that's where I agree with you, man. You want to see them, and they have to get this thing done.
Yes, and I actually won from Freddie Felt 313. I know we're running really late, but I think this is an interesting one.
That's right.
Feldman
Shout out to
Mailbag.
Freddie, too.
Yeah, shout out to Freddie. I'm in Milwaukee for work this week, so I'll be sitting behind home plate today for Brewers Orioles. Have you been to another team's ballpark? Any faves outside of Comerica Park? And first of all, I bet the tickets that you were able to get to that are a lot cheaper than you would have thought because the Orioles blow. They have fallen off a cliff, and the Brewers aren't. They're not. They've been consistent division champs. They're kind of middle of the pack this year. They're both wildly underperforming their expectations. But as far as my favorites, I love Wrigley. I've been there multiple times, and I've also last summer went to Fenway Park for the first time. And those two, they're different than Comerica Park. They're a little bit more old school. I hear that they more closely resemble what old Tiger Stadium was like. But I love Wrigley. I love Fenway, but I also really love Comerica. And not just because it's the Tigers ballpark. I love going to games and standing in right field, just over that little railing, being able to get a good view of the game. Usually I don't even go to my seat, but Fenway and Wrigley are as iconic as you think they are, as you've been told. And if you've been there, you probably agree with me.
And that's the only reason they're great stadiums. Like let's I'm gonna cut the ish. I've been to almost every MLB stadium except for 5 at this point, and there are so many stadiums that are just flat out better, but you can't beat the tradition and the vibes and the aura that both of these stadiums exude. The best 3 stadiums in the MLB are the Braves Stadium, the Giants Stadium, and the Pirates Stadium.
And see, to be fair, I've never been to any. And by the way, Pittsburgh, that's probably a goal for me this summer because Pittsburgh's not even that far away. I've heard great things about PNC, and I've never been to those 3, so I can't really speak on it. I've definitely heard a lot of good things about San Francisco and Atlanta as well, though. Definitely looking to go to all the ballparks, at least until I am 6 feet underground. Not to get morbid, but that's just one of those things I want to do.
And crazy enough, you could get into that ballpark for $8. I just looked it up. So
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$8 gets you in.
Well, hey, you know what? I think that's a show, and I saw Greg in the chat. He said, great show. Great
Thank you,
show.
Greg.
And I think there was a little bit more context that he added to that as well. Greg also says, Gold Tigers get the series.
Yep.
You know what? This is what they've done a whole lot more than not. So, Go Tigers. Shout out to Spinning Heavyweights. Big D Energy just stepped in the building, decked out in that Red Wings gear. But, you know what? Shout out to our community leaderboard as well. We have 5 people tied atop. They have Justin from North Carolina at the top with the number 1 crown, 225 XP. But joining him, ADIS415, Greg Grit, Steve O Baby, Tabitha Gable, all with 225. Shout out to you guys for supporting us. Vincent E. and Detroit Gunny just under them with 200. So shout out to you guys for supporting us. Smash that like button if you haven't gotten the opportunity to yet. I think it's time to break this thing down. We'll start with the chat back. Hey, shout out to Chad Johnson in the building too. Lady James, Woodward Sports, Birmingham Roast. But you guys were epic today. The conversation was dope. Shout out to our guest, Rod Beard, for being in the building too. And hey, in the sound booth, we have Willie B holding it down. Crash out Willie style today.
Oh man, it's been smooth, man. I'm enjoying this moment. We have some good debates, some good picks, and shoot, and maybe even it's raining outside, and we find a way to have fun and enjoy, talk about sports, and be who we are, man. That's the best part about it.
Hey, I'm loving the love in the chat. Freddie Felt, good show today, fam. Eric Allen. Daggone good show today, boys. I'm telling you, it goes a long, long way. Good show, guys. And for all my prayers, all my well-wishers, hey, definitely send some way to Kool-Aid. Got a little checkup afterwards. But we got Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, JB Smooth. What up, though, brother? Cooking.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shout out to everyone staying tapped in with us today. Another great show. Me and Chase, another Fast and Loose episode is out right now. If you haven't seen it, we have a special guest, Mr. D-Mac. So tap in, check it out. Tell us what you think. Leave us a comment. Woodward Ringside still coming later on this week, so don't fear about that. And if you want some more JB Smooth, like I said, No Chill Podcast is out right now to go check out on my channel. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hey, let's rock. We go over to that dude, Justin, and intern Ryan. What up, though?
We are over here and we are thriving. Ryan is working on his first photoshopping graphic, so he's already in here putting in work. So shout out to him coming in here first day, already just doing the most, and I love it. I mean, shout out to him and excited to see what he does here. You want to say anything?
Excited for the first day here. Love the energy in the building, and I'm excited for, first off, my new nickname whenever it happens, and for the future. So
welcome.
What up, though?
It will happen at some point, whether the chat family, whether us, or some combination of it. But glad to have you here. Oh, we do.
Intern
combine.
Yes, Spenny is off mic, but he just mentioned an intern combine. I would love to see that.
Absolutely. That might kick off Woodward games.
I'd be down for it.
You're one of my top 3 people here, Spenny.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Jerry?
With all due respect, right now I'd say Jerry, but I don't know you.
Yeah, and I know we got the other intern. He will be here tomorrow, Noah. So it's gonna be. We got some interns. We got some
I
dogs
like competition. I like competition. I'm all for it.
And let's rock.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Let's rock, man. And
forward to it.
Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network, Red Wings correspondent here. One of the trio of Woodward Wings, which we got in the building. What up, though?
Oh, yeah, we got all Woodward Wings in the building right now. But, speaking of Chase and his projects that he's working on, JB, D-Mac, we're on Fast and Loose. I was on the Chase Lounge today. So we all support each other. And if you want to hear more about my Ireland trip and even just a couple little conversations me and Chase had about movies, a different side of old Flannel Sam, tune into that. And obviously Chase does a great job as well.
Old Flannel Sam.
And it's your boy, Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. Your credential Pistons reporting writer for the network, man. This has been a great start to the day. I needed this morning, man. You guys helped me a lot. You guys have a better day, man. Hey, spin like a Woodward. Smash the like button.